Neighbors next door can smell it. It must be the money earned from stealing socks. If I were a formal employee, our family could eat meat every meal. Xianjinju became more and more angry. She was more skilled than Xia Hongmei, and her hands and feet were faster than Xia Hongmei, but Xia Hongmei ate meat while she ate vegetable stems. Mom, we eat meat too. My second sister took it, Tang Dandan said vaguely with an egg cake in her mouth. How can it be the same? Xianjinju was not happy, and then she found a bag of egg cakes with only a small half left. She was so angry that she snatched it and slapped her daughter a few times. We just had dinner tonight. Why are you so greedy? You ate 2 pounds of egg cake in one meal. The landlord can't afford to support you. A greedy girl. If you don't eat it, it will get damp. Tang Dandan was very flexible, dodging left and right, dodging all the way, and retorted with a smile. Her mother had a very bad habit, always liked to hide food in a box and put it in the sun when it got damp, and it got damp again when it got damp, and then it got damp again. When it couldn't be kept, she would let her and her brother eat it, but it tasted very bad. So she couldn't understand why they didn't eat it when it tasted good, but had to eat it when it got bad. What's the point? You spendthrift girl, if you live like this, you will have to eat up all the gold and silver. Xianjinju put away the remaining egg cake, feeling so distressed. Second aunt, you and second uncle have calculated carefully, but you haven't saved up a mountain of gold and silver. Tang Nianyan told the truth. She was not as good as her cousin. At least she ate the food herself. Second uncle and second aunt are eating at the expense of their own family members, and all the good things are going into other people's stomachs. What's the point? Puff. Tang Dandan covered her mouth and laughed. Second sister is so awesome. Tang Manin and his wife were embarrassed and wanted to scold a few words, but they didn't dare. Tang Nianyan is now someone they can't afford to offend. She is the favorite of Director Wu. What do you know, kid? If you're second uncle and I don't budget carefully, we can't even have enough food. Xianjinju retorted angrily. She didn't think she was wrong. People in the factory don't all rely on gifts and connections to become formal workers. If the leaders don't get any benefits, how can they think of you for good things? Second aunt, don't think about becoming a formal worker, but you can go to other factories to be a formal worker. Tang Nianyan stood up. She heard Xianjinju complain a lot and had some understanding of the situation in the sock factory. Humanism is particularly serious. Basically, it's because of kinship. It's difficult for Xianjinju, an outsider, to become a formal worker. Moreover, even if you become a formal worker in the sock factory, the monthly salary is only 32.5, and there is no good future. She had a better way to go, for second aunt. Nianyan, which factory are you a regular worker in? Do you have any classmates who know someone from Liyun's socks factory? Xianjinju was so excited. There are 2 socks factories in Jucheng. In addition to Liyun's socks factory, the other one is Hongxiu socks factory, where she works. We'll talk about it later. You work hard in Hongxiu. Opportunities are reserved for those who are prepared. Tang Nianyan had an unfathomable look and said some chicken soup, which immediately stirred Xianjinju up, which was more exciting than a shot of chicken blood. Don't worry, Nianyan. I will definitely work hard, learn the skills well, and won't let you down. Xianjinju's expression was more determined than the oath of joining the party. She thought that the regular worker her niece was talking about must be Liyun factory. She must not embarrass her niece when she went there. She must master the skills and make her niece proud. Yes. Tang Nianyan patted second aunt's shoulder heavily, with high hopes in her eyes. Xianjinju, at this moment, was like a man who would die for his friend. Even if Tang Nianyan asked her to jump into the river now, she would not hesitate and bravely move forward. Tang Dandan's eyes widened and her mouth opened wide. Second sister is really amazing. Second sister will be her idol in the future. The only one. Tang Nianyan wanted to go to the guest house. Tang Manin sent her there and also went to see the rooms in the guest house. It was on the 2nd floor. Secretary Li booked a single room with very good conditions. Tang Manin was envious again. He had never lived in such a good room in his life. Nianyan, close the doors and windows tightly when you sleep at night. Put a chair behind the door, and don't open the door if someone knocks. Tang Mianyin kept muttering, and Tang Mianyin kept nodding. Although the second uncle's words were all nonsense, he was kind-hearted, and she had to bear it. Finally, after sending the chattering second uncle away, Tang Mianyin jumped out of the window and rode a bicycle to the black market uncle's house. It was already 8 o'clock, and the street was very quiet. There were a few scattered pedestrians walking hurriedly. Tang Mianyin took out a backpack from the space, put 5 or 6 pounds of wild boar meat in it, and knocked on the door gently a few times. The old man lived in a house with a separate door and courtyard. It was a small courtyard, but very quiet. Soon, the door opened, and the old man saw her with a look of joy in his eyes, and hurriedly let her in. He led Tang Mianyin into the living room, where a simple and thin old lady made tea for her and smiled at her. There were also 2 children, a boy and a girl. The boy was 4 or 5 years old, and the girl was 6 or 7 years old. She was very beautiful and tilted her head to look at people curiously. There were few furniture in the room, and they were all tattered, but they were wiped very clean. Although the old couple and the children were thin, they looked good. "Girl, there is no good tea, so you have to drink some," the old lady said apologetically. There was no good tea at home now, and this little tea foam was what she found from the old tea cans. Very good. Tang Mianyin finished a cup in one breath. She was indeed a little thirsty, and asked the old man, "You said you had good things last time. What do you want to exchange?" "I want to exchange some meat and nutritional supplements. If I can get medicine for tuberculosis, it would be better. If not, forget it." As soon as the old man finished speaking, a few men coughed in the room on the left. "It's my son. He has tuberculosis. Don't worry, girl. He eats and drinks alone," the old lady explained. Tang Mianyin didn't care. She drank the spiritual spring, and her body, transformed by the end of the world, was also brought. Ordinary viruses are useless to her, and a little tuberculosis bacteria is not to be feared. Nutritional supplements are no problem, and medicine can also be obtained, but it's a bit troublesome. "Let me see your things." Tang Mianyin didn't agree immediately. She didn't know the details of the old couple, so she had to be careful. Tuberculosis medicine is very precious now. Hospitals in small counties generally can't buy it. Even in big cities like Beijing and Shanghai, you have to rely on connections to get it. She can't act too easy. In fact, she has medicine for tuberculosis in her space. In a few decades, medicine for tuberculosis will be very common, and anyone with money can buy it. I'll take you to see it. The old couple was very excited. What they were most worried about was their son. His condition was getting worse and worse. They were afraid that they would lose him before they could. If this girl could get the medicine, they would give her all their things. No matter how precious something was, it was not as valuable as their son's life. The old man took Tang Mianyin to see something, while the old lady was outside to take a walk. The house was not big, with only 3 rooms, a living room, and 2 small courtyards in front and back. There was a kitchen in the front yard, and the old man took Tang Mianyin to the backyard. The backyard was even smaller, only about 7 or 8 square meters, and there was a sweet-scented osmanthus tree, and next to the tree was a small utility room. This kind of house is very common in Zhucheng and can be seen everywhere. The old man led Tang Mianyin into the utility room, which was a mess, with a lot of things piled up and covered with dust. These sundries were redundant at a glance, and they would not be touched because they were too dirty. "Girl, wait a minute." The old man smiled mysteriously and a little proudly. He squatted down and moved the sundries piled on top. The house was suddenly dusty. Tang Mianyin covered her nose and went out to wait. After a while, the old man came out holding a tattered box. The box looked very broken, and there were several holes bitten by mice. It was too shabby to burn firewood. The box was a bit heavy, and the old man had a hard time holding it, so Tang Mianyin took it. The 2 returned to the living room, and the old lady wiped the box with a cloth. The old man opened the lid and lifted the cloth covering it. His eyes became reluctant. These were the treasures he had worked so hard to find, but now he had to give them to someone else. "Girl, they are all here." Tang Mianyin leaned over and saw the things in the box. There were 2 scrolls and a small cup, which looked unremarkable. What caught her eye was a big-bellied porcelain jar, which looked a bit familiar, as if she had seen it in a museum before. It looked a bit similar, but the pattern was different. At that time, the museum introduced it as yuan blue and white porcelain, which was very expensive in terms of historical value and monetary value. The highest price at the auction was 800 million? Yuan blue and white? Tang Nianyan asked, breathing a little hurriedly. This old man collected all good things. Girl, you know what's good. This is a Dotsai chicken cup from the Chenghua period of the Ming dynasty. This is a Yuan dynasty blue and white porcelain. These 2 paintings, one is a painting by Wu Daozi, and the other is a calligraphy by Shiji. And this plate is from the Ru kiln. They are all my beloved treasures, but I can't keep them. Girl, please keep them well, and don't let them be destroyed by ignorant people. The old man pleaded. He had some other collections, most of which were robbed, and some were burned. At that time, he was so worried that he couldn't breathe. He and his wife tried their best to keep these treasures, but they were terrified every day, worried that they would be discovered by those people. This girl is capable and may be able to protect these treasures. Okay. Tang Nianyan agreed. She must keep such expensive and good things. The old man looked at these things reluctantly, resolutely closed the lid, and moved the box in front of Tang Nianyan. I will send you nutritional supplements and medicine regularly. I'll give you the meat first. Tang Nianyan took out a large piece of bloody meat from the backpack, which weighed about 5 or 6 pounds. The old couple was shocked, and then ecstatic. With meat, they can supplement their son and grandchildren with nutrition. If you have any problems in the future, come to me and call this number. If I'm not here, find Tang Manin, and he will pass it on. Tang Nianyan wrote the phone number of the dormitory building of the Red Star Machinery Factory and her name and handed it to the old man. After receiving so many good things, she had to protect this family. Tang Nianyan picked up the box and left. When she passed by 2 beautiful children, she stopped, reached into the backpack with her backhand, fumbled around, and took out a small bag of white rabbit milk candy from the space. She grabbed a handful of each and stuffed them into the pockets of the brother and sister, forcing a smile. Eat candy. The beautiful children were very cute, and she liked them. Tang Nianyan strode away, not letting the old couple send her off, and directly closed the door and rode away. Xiang Junzuo and his wife exchanged glances, closed the door, and returned to the living room. The grandchildren took out milk candies from their pockets and put them all on the table. Grandpa, Grandma, the beautiful sister gave us a lot of milk candies. The little girl swallowed her saliva. She hadn't eaten milk candies for a long time. She was so greedy. But Grandpa, Grandma, and Dad didn't eat them, so she couldn't eat them first. Eat them. Mrs. Xiang's eyes were wet. It was all her fault that she was incompetent. The 2 children suffered too much. She peeled 2 milk candies and fed them to the 2 children, but the siblings refused to eat them. She had to let them eat first before she would eat them. Miss Tang is cold on the outside but warm on the inside. Old Xiang, you have a good eye for people this time. Mrs. Xiang teased, and Xiang Junzuo's old face became hot, and he felt guilty. If he hadn't been able to judge people, his family wouldn't have suffered such a change. Who knew that the person who called him Uncle Xiang so affectionately would stab him in the back and almost ruin his family? Don't think about the past. Things will definitely get better in the future. Mrs. Xiang comforted her husband. She had confidence in the future. She also believed that one day, her family would be able to return to Shanghai and continue their previous lives. Xiang Junzuo nodded. With the 800 kilograms of food given by Tang Nianyan, as well as nutritional supplements and medicine in the future, their family's life would definitely get better and better. After Tang Nianyan returned to the guest house, she closed the curtains and entered the space. She put the broken box away. She was going to build a wooden house. She cut some wood on the mountain, which was enough. Tang Nianyan had built a house in the end times and had experience. She also had an electric saw and quickly cut the wood. It took only a few hours to build a simple wooden house. She also had to build a stove and a bed. She would be able to enter the space to rest in the future. The pregnant rabbits that were brought into the space before have already given birth. A total of 2 rabbits gave birth to 30 rabbits. With such a high production rate, it is no wonder that the wild rabbits on the mountain are so hard to kill. Tang Niannian originally wanted to build some chicken sheds, rabbit sheds, and pig sheds, but she found that the animals in the space were very well behaved, living in their own homes and not disturbing each other. She didn't need to take care of them, so she was too lazy to build sheds. After sleeping until dawn, Tang Niannian washed up and went out for breakfast. A bowl of salty soy milk, a basket of steamed dumplings, 2 old fried dough sticks, and a bowl of wontons. Tang Niannian specifically asked for old fried dough sticks, which are fried dough sticks that have been fried again overnight. This kind of fried dough sticks tastes especially good when soaked in soy milk. After eating a beautiful breakfast, Tang Niannian was in a better mood. In this era, except for the lack of supplies, everything else is good, especially the food, which is much more delicious than in later times. Tang Niannian rode a bicycle to the second cotton mill. Today was the recruitment examination, and she pulled out a cigarette for the old man. "Girl is here. Take the exam in the second-floor conference room. Do well." The old man smiled and had a very good impression of Tang Niannian. There were several young men and women who came to take the exam. They were all arrogant and didn't even look at him. Only Tang Niannian, although expressionless, was polite. Every time she came, she would put out his cigarette. She was obviously a well-educated child. "I know."
Tang Niannian note that.
In preparation for this job exam, she read a lot of current newspapers and learned a lot about current affairs. It should be no problem. There were more than a dozen young men and women sitting in the conference room on the second floor. They were all dressed very stylishly and wore watches. They all came from good families. When Tang Niannian came in, the eyes of several young men lit up and their eyes became warm. A young man with fair skin even came over to say hello. "Hello, my name is Jinbo. Are you here for the job exam as well?"
Yes.
Tang Niannian's expression was indifferent. This man named Jinbo wanted to flirt with her at first glance, but she didn't like men with too white skin. They were effeminate. A dark and handsome face appeared in her mind. It was the soldier she met in the state-owned restaurant. His appearance and figure were just what she wanted, as was his temperament. She didn't like men who were too proactive and too enthusiastic. She always felt that these men had bad intentions and wanted to harm her. Jinbo was a little embarrassed. His father was the deputy director of the meat processing plant, and his mother was the director of the street. His family background was definitely the best in Zhucheng. The girl had always taken the initiative to please him, but today she ran into an iceberg. Looking at Tang Niannian's beautiful face, Jinbo comforted himself that it was normal for such a beautiful girl to be a little arrogant. If he could catch this girl, he would be the most prestigious man in the city in the future. "Which unit do your parents work for? I haven't seen you before. Are your family newly transferred here?" Jinbo kept asking. Young people from their families have their own circles and basically know everyone, but Tang Niannian is a stranger. It's the first time he saw her today. It's time for the exam.
Tang Niannian themin only.
Someone came in with a pile of test papers. Jinbo returned to his seat regretfully. He became more enthusiastic about Tang Niannian. After the exam, he would get close to this beautiful girl. The other girls looked at Tang Niannian with unfriendly eyes, especially the girl wearing a blue woolen coat and 2 ponytails. She glared at Tang Niannian fiercely. Tang Niannian didn't care and had a blank expression on her face. She was waiting for the test paper. The man who came in said some polite words and handed out the test papers. There were questions on Chinese and mathematics which were all very simple, but for others it was not so easy. In recent years, the school has only 2 textbooks, Industrial Basics and Agricultural Basics, which teach very simple knowledge points, which may only be equivalent to the junior high school level in the future. Tang Niannian looked at the questions and picked up her pen to answer. Perhaps it was because of such textbooks that she wrote very quickly, with almost no time to think, and she wrote as if she had divine power. Moreover, her blackboard writing was very beautiful. As a small-town test taker in the previous life, She remembered the teacher's teachings together. The blackboard writing must be neat, and the paper score is at least 1 point. You must get this point, which may affect your life. So, Tang Nianyan's blackboard writing has always been very beautiful, written clearly and cleanly, clear at a glance and comfortable to read. The man who was invigilating the exam walked to her side, had already walked past, and then stepped back, stood beside her and stared at her, with admiring eyes. He was the secretary of the factory director, responsible for today's recruitment exam. The factory director said that all admissions would be based on real scores. Among so many candidates, only this beautiful girl named Tang Nianyan had the most beautiful blackboard writing and the highest accuracy rate. All the previous questions were finished, and the last question was to write an article, the title of which was I Want to Be a. Without thinking, Tang Nianyan wrote down I want to be a useful person to the society. She wrote a long and beautiful article with great enthusiasm, willing to be a humble, contributing all her strength to the construction of the motherland, and going wherever there is a need, even if it means sacrificing her life. In the 1,000-word article, she wrote 700 words of nonsense, and the remaining 300 words were used to praise the motherland, the party, the new look of the No. 2 cotton mill, and the wise measures of the factory director, leading his subordinates to make progress together and weaving one piece of cloth after another for the motherland. I love my motherland, Jucheng, and the No. 2 cotton mill. I am willing to be of the No. 2 cotton mill, keep in mind the 4 special spirits, be able to endure hardships, fight, endure, and dedicate, and contribute all my strength to the No. 2 cotton mill. As long as the No. 2 cotton mill needs me, I will be there at any time and always be ready. Tang Nianyan finished writing the last word. She drew an exclamation mark and nodded heavily.
Done.
She shook her hand and nodded to the man who had been standing next to her. This man didn't know what was wrong with him. He had been standing next to her for half an hour. Was he afraid that she would cheat? The man's eyes were a little hot. He was moved by Tang Nianyan's article. He had never seen such a passionate young man who was willing to sacrifice his life for the construction of the factory. Compared with Tang Nianyan, he was too small and selfish. He wanted to learn from this comrade Tang Nianyan, learn her spirit, learn her 4 special spirits. I want a hand in the paper. Tang Nianyan stood up and put the test paper on the table in front of her. Please wait outside for the results. The results will be announced at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The man said. The factory director was annoyed by those people who asked for connections. He asked him to finish this recruitment exam as soon as possible. There was only 1 quota. After the exam, the best candidates would be admitted. The results would be announced on the same day to save those people from bothering the factory director again. Tang Nianyan nodded, indicating that she understood. It was morning now, and she would come back in the afternoon. First, go to the sock factory to find Xia Hongmei to sell pork. Second aunt and Xia Hongmei are in the same workshop, but their relationship is not so good. The sock factory is not far from the second cotton mill, and it only takes a few minutes to ride a bike. Tang Nianyan offered a cigarette to the security guard, saying that she was Xia Hongmei's cousin and came to visit relatives. It's time to get off work now. Go to the dormitory building, turn left, and walk 50 meters. The uncle was very enthusiastic. The charm of Hong Shuangxi cigarettes is invincible in this era. Tang Nianyan easily found the dormitory building. Xia Hongmei lived in a row of bungalows. The kitchen was set up outside. Many people were cooking. She didn't know Xia Hongmei, so she asked the aunt closest to her. Aunt, where does Xia Hongmei live? I'm her cousin. This is my first time in the city. Go to the 5th room. You are Hongmei's cousin. You are really beautiful. The aunt looked at Tang Nianyan curiously. This cousin was much prettier than Xia Hongmei, but it was a pity that she was a rural girl. Hongmei, your cousin is here. The aunt suddenly shouted, and Xia Hongmei, who had just walked out, was startled and looked at Tang Nianyan in confusion. When did she have such a beautiful cousin? A cousin? My aunt asked me to go to the city to deliver something. Tang Nianyan shouted first, walked quickly to Xia Hongmei and whispered, Your husband asked me to deliver pork. Cousin, come in quickly. Your brother mentioned it to me, but I forgot. Xia Hongmei quickly realized that she had eaten all the wild rabbits and pheasants she got last time, and she was craving for meat. She enthusiastically led Tang Niannian into the house, closed the door, and asked anxiously, "How much pork is there?" "It's all here." Tang Niannian took out a large piece of meat from the backpack, which weighed more than 10 pounds. Xia Hongmei's eyes were straight, and she picked it up and picked it up. It was heavy. 1 yuan per pound. "How much do you want?"
Tang Niannian asked.
The pork in the market was 72 cents and you need a meat ticket. The pork in the black market was 1.2 yuan. Wild boar meat was a bit smelly, so she sold it for a piece without being expensive.
"I want all of them."
"How much is this?" Xia Hongmei was very generous. She had no shortage of money. Tang Niannian took out a scale from her backpack, hooked up the pork, and lifted it up with one hand. 15.5 pounds. Count as 15 pounds. She asked Xia Hongmei to look at the scale. "Here's the money. Come to me again when you need meat in the future. It would be even better if you have pork from a farm." Xia Hongmei didn't look at it. She just weighed it. It was about 15 or 16 pounds, no mistake. She took out a 10 yuan note and a 5 yuan note and stuffed them into Tang Niannian's pockets. "Let's talk about it later." Tang Niannian didn't refuse or agree. She would get some piglets in a while. There would be meat if they were raised in the space, but not so soon. After the payment and goods were paid, Tang Niannian said goodbye and Xia Hongmei saw her to the door. "Cousin, you are really something. You leave without even eating. Your brother will definitely scold me. I still have to go shopping. If I get home late, it will be dark. I'm leaving, cousin." Tang Niannian secretly admired Xia Hongmei's acting skills. She acted like a real person. "You're leaving without even eating? Girl, come and visit us again next time." The old lady who had shown me the way was very welcoming, just like one of our own family members. Tang Niannian nodded at her, and even after walking a long way, she could still hear the loud voice of the middle-aged woman, asking Xia Hongmei if she had a boyfriend. People nowadays are so enthusiastic. Tang Niannian went to the restaurant to eat, and then went directly to the second cotton mill. The young men and women who took the exam in the morning were standing at the door of the conference room, talking in groups of 3 or 4. When Jean Bo saw her, his eyes lit up and he walked over, but was stopped by the girl in the blue woolen coat, who asked, "Jean Bo, how did you do in the exam?" "It's okay, anyway, I did everything I could do, how about you?" Jean Bo had to stop. The girl's father was the director of the meat processing factory and his father's leader, so he had to be polite. The girl looked at Tang Niannian proudly, but Tang Niannian didn't look at her at all. She leaned against the railing casually, with a cold expression, but her posture was extremely beautiful. Just a casual move could hook people's hearts. While chatting with the girl, Jean Bo looked at Tang Niannian from time to time. His mind was distracted, and the girl's face became more and more ugly. She couldn't help but tell him an insider information to attract Jean Bo. "It doesn't matter if you don't pass the exam this time. The tractor factory and the agricultural machinery factory will have recruitment exams. We will take the exams together when the time comes." The girl's voice was not loud, but Tang Niannian had good ears. "Did your father tell you?" Jean Bo really became interested. He stopped looking at Tang Niannian and discussed the recruitment exam with the girl head-to-head. He didn't have much confidence in this exam. If he took more exams, there would always be one person who would pass, right? Although his father said that he could arrange for him to work in the meat processing factory, he didn't like the meat processing factory. He was tired of dealing with dead pigs every day. "Yes, my father said that there will be only 3 recruitment exams in the first half of the year, all next week." The girl was very proud. Although she didn't look as pretty as Tang Niannian, she had a father who was a factory director. She didn't want to work in the meat processing factory, so she wanted to go to other units, preferably the same unit as Jean Bo. Tang Niannian's mouth curled up. There were still 2 exams to go. God was helping her. At 2 o'clock, the morning invigilator appeared with a piece of paper in his hand. Everyone held their breath. Now the test results are announced. This recruitment exam adheres to the principle of fairness and justice. The best candidates are admitted according to their scores. Those who did not do well should not be discouraged. They should keep up the good work next time. Those who pass the exam should learn with an open mind. After entering the factory to work, they should devote themselves to their work, do their job well, shine and give. Remember the 4 special spirits of being able to endure hardships, fight, endure and dedicate, and be willing to be a small who works hard and never complains. The invigilator couldn't help but use Tang Nianyan's golden words. He was a secretary and often had to write reports. He didn't even take a nap at noon. He kept reading Tang Nianyan's articles. The more he read, the more exciting they were. How Yujie, Tang Nianyan, you'll go to the personnel department to handle the procedures later. The man announced the test results. How Yujie was the internal quota, and Tang Nianyan was the only one who passed the exam. Everyone else sighed and looked around, wondering which lucky guy Tang Nianyan was. Tang Nianyan and a girl stood up, and Jean Beau's eyes lit up. It turned out that they were his ideal people. His parents would definitely not object to this beautiful girl working in the second cotton mill, and there was almost no obstacle for them to be together. Jean Beau took it for granted that Tang Nianyan would not reject his pursuit. After all, he was so handsome and had such a good family background. Which girl would reject him? Tang Nianyan and Hao Yujie went to the personnel department and completed the entry procedures. Come to work next month, the director of the personnel office said in a serious tone. It was Yang Aihua who filled out the registration form last time. She and Hao Yujie both had their work permits. This girl looked a bit like her sister Hao Yuhua, but her personality was much better than her sister's. She always smiled, spoke softly, and took the initiative to greet Tang Nianyan.
Hello, I'm Hao Yuji.
We're going to work together in the future.
You're the first in this exam.
I want to learn from you. Hao Yujie extended her hand generously. Tang Nianyan also extended her hand and gently pulled the corner of her mouth. She didn't say anything because she couldn't work with this girl. She turned around and asked the security guard if anyone wanted to buy this position. She had to sell it. Hao Yujie's smile froze for a moment and soon filled up again. She felt a little dissatisfied with Tang Nianyan. She took the initiative to greet him, but she was still so arrogant. I don't know what kind of family background he has. It takes more than 10 minutes to walk from the office building to the factory gate. Hao Yujie pestered Tang Nianyan all the way and asked questions about her family background. Tang Nianyan remained silent and let the girl talk. Hao Yujie sang a single clarinet for a few minutes, and she really couldn't sing anymore. This was the first time she had seen Tang Nianyan being so unkind. She had no expression and didn't say a word from beginning to end. She was even more arrogant than the daughter of the director of the second cotton mill. Although Hao Yujie was very dissatisfied, she didn't dare to show it. She couldn't figure out Tang Nianyan's background. If she really had a big background, she must not offend her and had to curry favor with her. But Tang Nianyan was too tight-lipped. She hadn't gotten a single word out of her yet. Hao Yujie cleared her throat and prepared for the second round of questions. Yujie, 3 young men and women caught up with her. They were the ones who had taken the job recruitment exam together before. 1 man and 2 women, but they all failed. The parents of these people either worked in the supply and marketing cooperative or the second cotton mill. They all knew Hao Yujie and had a good relationship with her, but their parents' connections were not as strong as Hao Yujie's. Yujie, you will be a formal employee in the future. That's great. A girl with 2 pigtails was full of envy. She was wearing a khaki coat, an apricot turtleneck sweater, dark blue corduroy trousers, black leather shoes, and a half-new women's watch on her wrist. This outfit is quite good even in Shanghai. Obviously, this girl's family is very well off, and it should be no problem to take out 700 or 800 yuan. There are also recruitment exams. You will definitely pass them. Hao Yujie comforted her friends, but everyone knew that with their academic performance, if their parents didn't have strong connections, 9 out of 10 would not pass the exam. If only they had as good grades as Tang Nianyan. Several people looked at Tang Nianyan with a cold expression, but didn't dare to say hello to her. This girl didn't look easy to get along with, and they were afraid of being scolded. Several people went to the factory gate together, and the old man took the initiative to greet Tang Nianyan. Girl, have you finished the exam? Yes. Tang Nianyan nodded, walked over, and put in a paper bag from the window. She wrapped it with newspaper, and there were 10 red double happiness cigarettes in it.
How did you do in the exam?
The old man gently pinched it, grinned, and asked in a low voice. Not bad. Goodbye, old man. Tang Nianyan didn't say that she passed the exam, and said goodbye to the old man and went to the parking shed at the door to push the car. Hao Yujie and the others thought too much, thinking that Tang Nianyan was also the child of a cadre of the second cotton mill. Otherwise, how could the security guard be so familiar with her? When did Uncle Yu become so easy to talk to? He ignored the factory director. The girl with pigtails, Yang Xiaohong, whispered softly. Her parents and aunt were all from the second cotton mill, and her aunt was Yang Aihua from the personnel office, but she still couldn't compete with Hao Yujie because Hao Yujie's parents had a better relationship with the factory director. Maybe he knows her. Hao Yujie smiled, but she didn't dare to underestimate Tang Nianyan in her heart. The security guard, Uncle Yu, was the father of the former factory director, who was promoted to the textile department. This uncle could almost walk sideways in the factory, and the factory director had to respect him. She guessed that Tang Nianyan's parents were probably from the textile department, otherwise Uncle Yu would not have such an attitude. Yang Xiaohong didn't ride a bike. Her home was in the family building of the cotton spinning factory, across the street, but she didn't want to go home now. She wanted to go to the park to relax and think about her future life. Yang Xiaohong. Tang Nianyan appeared behind her like a ghost, scaring the girl. She turned around suddenly and saw that it was Tang Nianyan. She breathed a sigh of relief, patted her chest, and said unhappily, "People scare people to death. You are too timid." Tang Nianyan was a little puzzled. It was broad daylight, and there were so many pedestrians on the street. What was there to be afraid of? You suddenly appeared behind me and suddenly called out. Anyone would be scared. What's wrong with you? Yang Xiaohong would never admit that she was timid. She just couldn't be scared suddenly. When she was alone, if someone suddenly spoke, she would have a big reaction, but she dared to walk alone at night, and she was not timid. Go over there and talk. Tang Nianyan pointed to the roadside. They stood in the middle of the sidewalk, blocking other people's way. Yang Xiaohong didn't understand her purpose, but she followed her obediently. I want to sell this job. Do you want to buy it? Tang Nianyan got straight to the point. Yang Xiaohong didn't react for a while and was a little stupid. She asked back, what to buy? The office job of the second cotton mill. Yang Xiaohong finally came to her senses and was very surprised. She asked, didn't you just pass the exam? This is an office job. Why do you want to sell it? How many people dream of an office job in a cotton mill? Tang Nianyan actually passed the exam and wanted to sell it. Is she crazy? My fiancé is paralyzed. Tang Nianyan gave a reason in a cold voice and added the word X in her heart. The ex-fiancé is paralyzed. This reason should be convincing. Yang Xiaohong's eyes became sympathetic and she imagined many plots. Tang Nianyan is a girl with feelings and righteousness. In order to treat her fiancé's illness, she sold the iron rice bowl that she had finally passed the exam. What a touching love story. Do you really want to sell it? Yang Xiaohong wanted to make sure, so as not to regret it later. Well, as soon as possible. Tang Nianyan nodded. She still had to go to the tractor factory and the agricultural machinery factory to take exams, and there was no time to delay.
Come home with me.
Yang Xiaohong saw her determination and was very happy. The family was not short of money, but these days, good positions were occupied by others and no one was willing to sell them. Her parents wanted to buy a house, but had no place to buy it. And her parents' jobs must be left to her two brothers. She can only rely on herself to take the exam or buy it. She couldn't pass the exam, her grades were terrible, and she couldn't buy a house. 5 minutes ago, Yang Xiaohong was still confused about her life, but now she stood up immediately. She looked at Tang Nianyan as if she was looking at an angel. She was beautiful, and her heart was even more beautiful. What a good girl. Yang Xiaohong took Tang Nianyan back to the second cotton mill. Her father was a mechanic in the factory, and her mother was the director of the third workshop. She went into the workshop to find her mother, and soon, the mother and daughter came out. Do you really want to sell it? Yang's mother looked Tang Nianyan up and down. She was a very pretty girl, and she was well-dressed. 800 yuan, do you want to buy it? Tang Nianyan asked coldly. Buy it. Yang's mother was very decisive. 800 yuan was not expensive, and the family could afford it. With her daughter's office job, she could choose a better partner, so the money must be spent. She went back to the workshop and found her husband. She told him about it. The couple came out together and asked Tang Nianyan to wait downstairs in the office building while they went home to get the money. The couple was also anxious, afraid that the night would be long and dreams would be many. Tang Nianyan changed her mind and thought about completing the formalities quickly. Tang Nianyan happened to think the same way. Yang's father and mother acted quickly. They came back panting in less than half an hour, took Tang Nianyan to a secluded place, and gave her 800 yuan. Go and complete the formalities. Tang Nianyan nodded and put the 800 yuan in her pocket with satisfaction. Yang's mother was also very satisfied. She liked people who were quick to do things. The director of the personnel office was Yang Xiaohong's aunt, and the formalities were handled exceptionally smoothly. Although Yang Aihua was surprised, she did not ask much. Although the sale of positions was prohibited on the surface, many people did it privately. In addition, the names of Tang Nianyan and Hao Yujie had not yet been transferred to the Labor Bureau, so the procedures were very simple. Tang Nianyan signed, and the work transfer procedures were completed. She stretched out her hand to Yang Xiaohong and said expressionlessly, "May you have a bright future." "Thank you, I hope your fiancé recovers soon." Yang Xiaohong gave her sincere blessings. Tang Nianyan nodded and strode away. A net profit of 800 yuan a day is quite cost-effective. I hope the tractor factory and the agricultural machinery factory will also be smooth. Yang Aihua asked in a low voice, "Sister-in-law, how did you convince this girl?" "Such a good job, most people would definitely not be willing to sell it. Her daughter has been unemployed at home for half a year, and she is not so lucky." She took the initiative to find Xiaohong, saying that her fiancé was paralyzed and needed money for treatment. "This girl looks cold, but she is a kind and righteous person." Yang's mother sighed, looking so beautiful, but her life is not so good. How could she have a paralyzed fiancé?
It's really a sin.
Xiaohong's job is settled, sister-in-law. You and my brother are relieved, but it's a pity that Qinghong of my family doesn't know when she will have a chance.
Yang Aihua sighed.
She is still young and can't retire. Even if she retires, the job will be given to her son, but she has to make arrangements for her daughter. It would be great if Tang Nianyan could have such an opportunity. It will definitely happen. Maybe there will be good news in a few days. Yang's mother comforted. Yang Aihua smiled bitterly and didn't hold out hope. The two sisters-in-law were chatting in the corridor. Their voices were not loud, but the wind blew their voices into Tang Nianyan's ears standing on the stairs. She really didn't want to eavesdrop, but her hearing was too good, so she could always hear a lot of secrets. Tang Nianyan's mouth corners rose. "Another customer, let's go to the tractor factory first." Zhucheng Tractor Factory is also in the west of the city, next to the agricultural machinery factory. Tang Nianyan used 2 red double happiness trinkets to easily find out the time of the recruitment examination. They are both next week, Wednesday for the tractor factory and Thursday for the agricultural machinery factory, both at 8:30 in the morning. And they are all office jobs, regardless of gender. Tang Nianyan grinned. These 2 recruitment exams were tailor-made for her. If everything goes well, she can earn another 1,600 yuan. It was time to register for the tractor factory. Tang Nianyan filled out the registration form first. Her words were the same as at the second cotton mill, but this time she changed it to saying that her uncle worked at the cotton mill, and she no longer mentioned the Power Supply Bureau. The agricultural machinery factory would register tomorrow, so Tang Nianyan went to find Bigo to sell wild boar meat. Last time, she collected 12 wild boars, 7 big ones and 5 small ones. She slaughtered the largest one in the village and slaughtered 2 for herself. She did not go to the black market, but to the address Bigo mentioned last time, a house with a private entrance and courtyard very quiet. "Miss, what good stuff do you have?" When Beige saw her, his eyes lit up, but He was very respectful and didn't dare to take anything big. His still hurt from the last fall. But he made a lot of money from the Dacron cloth that the girl took out. It would be great if there was such good cloth again. Do you want 2 wild boars? Tang Nianyan asked directly. She put the wild boars outside. Yes. Beige was a little disappointed, but meat was also good. Cloth and meat were the best-selling things these days, as well as grain and oil, which were in short supply in every household. Outside, Tang Nianyan was too lazy to move. Beige and his men went out. When they opened the door, they saw a cart covered with a layer of sacks. Inside were slaughtered wild boars, each weighing about 200 pounds. Several people carried the pigs into the yard and weighed them. Total 486 Jin. Your wild boar meat is not as expensive as domestic pork. Girl, you are an old customer, so I will charge you 90 cents per Jin. How about that? The price given by Beige was very affordable. Tang Nianyan nodded and said, "How much does it cost to get me a bicycle license?" Nowadays, bicycles need to be stamped. Black bikes cannot go on the street. If you go to a department store to buy a bicycle, it will be stamped. She can only ask Beige, "Girl, can you get a bicycle?" Beige was very smart and thought of the key point at once, and his eyes lit up instantly. Bicycles are hard currency, and you can sell as many as you want. You want one without a license? Tang Nianyan asked. Yes, take as many as you want, girl. I will give you a reasonable price, 170. How about that? Beige nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. A bicycle in a department store costs 180, and you also need a bicycle ticket. A bicycle ticket on the black market costs 70 or 80. He sold it for 240, and there must be a lot of people who want it. He has connections to get a license plate, so it doesn't cost much. 10 men's and 10 women's. Hand over the money and get the goods tonight. Tang Nianyan didn't dare to take more. In fact, there were hundreds of bicycles in the space, but if Zhucheng suddenly had hundreds of bicycles, it would definitely attract the attention of the police. 20 bicycles should not be a big problem. I'll wait for you tonight, girl. I don't want your license plate for free. I'll give it to you. Mina grinned from ear to ear. Although this beautiful girl was cruel, she was a fortune teller. He was sure that Tang Nianyan must have some good stuff in her hands. He had to hold on to this thigh tightly. 486 kilograms of meat, plus 20 bicycles, a total of 3,837.4 yuan. Miss, I'll round it up for you. 3,850 yuan. Mina took out a banknote and a small wooden box and handed it to Tang Nianyan with both hands. I collected some small things, giving them to you to play with. Tang Nianyan opened the wooden box, and inside was a jade bracelet and a jade pendant. The quality was pretty good, and there were also some copper coins and yuan datu. These things are indeed small things nowadays, and small yellow croakers can be sold at the bank, but no one wants these. She flipped through the copper coins and paused. There was a silver dollar inside, which seemed to be a very rare Guangxu year. She had seen it on the internet in her previous life. This kind of silver dollar is very rare and very valuable. The highest price at auction is more than 3 million. Mina must not know. Otherwise, he would not give it to her for free. I don't know if Mina can help me with something. Tang Nianyan thought for a long time before she thought of Mina. He has a wide network of contacts and knows people from all walks of life. He is very suitable for this matter. Miss, please tell me. As long as I can do it, I will do my best. Mina seemed very enthusiastic, but he didn't agree to anything. Hongxiu Socks Factory has a batch of scrapped sock machines. You can find a way to get them at the cheapest price. I can find someone to repair them. After they are sold, we will split the profits 40% to 60%. Tang Nianyan wanted to use the price of scrap copper and rotten iron to get the batch of sock machines. Mina should be able to do it. Miss, I have to ask someone to use my connections to give gifts. If I sell them, I have to take risks and spend a lot of manpower and material resources. I should split the profits 60% and you 40%. Although he was afraid of Tang Nianyan, Mina still plucked up the courage to bargain. He knew the market potential of sock machines better than anyone else. As long as they could be repaired, he would definitely be able to sell them. If no one repairs them, they are just a pile of scrap metal. If they are repaired, they are treasures. The most valuable thing in this business is the core technology, which is in my hands. Since you are not satisfied, forget it. Tang Nianyan turned around and left. He actually wanted to take advantage of her. It was a beautiful idea. She went to Hongxiu Sock's factory to negotiate by herself. At most, it would take some time and effort. Wait. Why are you in such a hurry? We can talk it over. How about a 50-50 split? Mina said humbly with a smile. A 50-50 split is also quite profitable. Tang Nianyan had a blank expression on her face. She walked faster and reached the gate, stretching out her hand to pull the door. 40-60. That's 40-60. I'll take 40, and you'll take 60. Mina threw herself at the door with all her might, blocking Tang Nianyan from going out. A 40-60 split is also quite profitable for him. The core technology is in the hands of the girl, and he has no confidence to compete. Pick up all the scrapped sock machines from the Hongxiuli and Yun sock factories. As long as they are not too outrageous, I can fix them. Tang Nianyan issued the task. There are only 2 sock factories in Zhucheng, and all the scrapped sock machines add up to about 100, but not all old sock machines can be repaired. Let's assume the depreciation rate is 20%, so there are at least 70 or 80 machines. She planned to open a small sock factory in Tang Village, and she would use these scrapped sock machines as the machines. Now, individuals were not allowed to open factories, but collectives could. She would open a sock factory in the name of Tang Village, and she would provide the machines as shares, and Tang Village would provide the labor. In this way, the surplus labor force of Tang Village would have the opportunity to earn extra money, and her family would not be conspicuous in the village. It is better to share wealth than to be rich alone. Understood. Rest assured. Girl, I'll take care of it. Mina clapped his arms and promised that no one in the city could do this except him. Tang Nianyan nodded slightly. She opened the door and stepped out with one foot. Then she remembered something and asked, there is a serial killer in the city who specifically targets young girls. Do you know about this? Mina's face changed and he shook his head and said, this is definitely not from the underworld. People from the underworld will never do such immoral things. Don't let me run into him, my dear. At the end of last year, the city was in a panic. His wife didn't dare to go out. He also sent people to inquire about it, but there was no news about this. As a result, his wife still doesn't dare to wear her favorite red scarf. His wife is 10 years younger than him, young and beautiful, and can act like a spoiled child. She also gave him a big fat son. Mina holds his wife in his heart and naturally hates this who made his wife unhappy. My brother and I analyzed it and found that this should live in the west of the city and maybe a sanitation worker. Mina said again. What do you think? Tang Nianyan became interested. This always committed crimes at night, and most of the victims were in the west of the city. There were also a few female comrades who worked the night shift. The bodies were all very dirty. Maybe they were loaded into a garbage truck. Mina shared his and his brother's speculation. Not necessarily. It is very likely that he deliberately confused the site. Tang Nianyan remembered the west of the city. When she had nothing to do at night, she went to the west of the city for a walk and tied a red scarf by the way. Girl, it's dark now. You should be careful. That is cruel and ruthless, worse than a beast. Mina kindly reminded Tang Nianyan, but Tang Nianyan walked far away and didn't hear it. He thought of the day in the grove when Tang Nianyan lifted him up, spun him 18 times and threw him out, and he couldn't help but shudder. If that meets this girl, who knows who will win? Mina said to himself, looking forward to it. Tang Nianyan went to the restaurant to eat and took a walk outside to digest the food. At 7:30, she went to the grove and moved out 21 bicycles. These bicycles are all nostalgic, no different from the current ones, and the quality is also very good. Male and female Beige led his brothers over. Seeing 2 rows of brand new and neat bicycles, his eyes were brighter than diamonds. These were all clattering money. Beige stamped Tang Nianyan's bicycle with a code on it. It was formal, and there would be no problem even if the police checked. Girl, I have collected some good things recently. Do you want them? Beige asked mysteriously. Those things were useless to hoard in hand, so it would be better to exchange them for this girl. Let's take a look. Tang Nianyan's expression was indifferent. She had to see the goods first. Beige asked his men to carry a box over and open the lid. There were calligraphy and paintings, porcelain and jade ornaments inside. They all looked quite old. Tang Nianyan didn't know much about antiques, but these should be genuine goods, and the jade jewelry had very good waterhead. How much is it worth? She asked. 1,000? Beige asked tentatively. Tang Nianyan looked at him coldly, and he immediately changed his words. 800? 500. Tang Nianyan made a price. She only recognized a few jadeite and jade articles. She didn't recognize other things, and was not sure. Beige didn't argue. He basically didn't spend much money on these things. Tang Nianyan paid the money, put the box behind the bicycle, and rode away on the new bicycle. Beige and his men lifted the 20 bicycles onto the cart and took them away. Tang Nianyan put the captain's old bicycle into the space. The new bicycle was lighter to ride. She went back to the machinery factory first to see how the dormitory arranged by Director Wu was. Tang Manin and Xian Jinju were busy with the new dormitory. Secretary Li came to inform them the afternoon and arranged a single dormitory for Tang Nianyan. It was on the floor above them. It was also 15 square meters. Tang Nianyan lived alone. The couple was very envious and worshipped Tang Nianyan even more. There are beds and desks in the dormitory, and you have to get your own quilt and basin. Tang Manin and Xian Jinju came to clean after dinner. After all, Tang Nianyan is so lazy that it is impossible to expect her to do it. Tang Nianyan went to her second uncle's house first. No one was at home. The neighbor said that he went upstairs to clean her dormitory. Director Wu is very efficient and arranged the dormitory so quickly. Tang Nianyan didn't know that Director Wu came to work early in the morning, called the Huqing shipyard to report on the work, and asked them to send someone to inspect the goods. Then, he called Director Qian of the Tianjin factory and showed off proudly. Director Wu, who had been depressed for several years, had never been so proud before. He was in a more cheerful mood than when he first received the appointment document. Everyone in the office building could testify that Director Wu did not stop humming today. He was even humming when he was peeing, the water of Honghu Lake, waves hitting waves. Director Wu, who was in a good mood, paid more attention to Tang Nianyan's affairs. He told Secretary Li in the morning and asked about it at noon. Secretary Li originally wanted to postpone it for a few days, but he dared not postpone it any longer. He immediately found the logistics office and arranged a single room for Tang Nianyan. Tang Nianyan went to the third floor and ran into Tang Dandan, who came out with a basin of water. Second sister, you are back. Your dormitory is so big. You can put a big bed and roll on it. Tang Dandan had been sleeping on a small bed since she came to the city. She was afraid of falling off when she turned over. What she wanted most was to sleep in a big bed comfortably and not be afraid of rolling off the bed. You move to this room and sleep in the future. Tang Nianyan did not plan to live in the dormitory. The dormitory building was crowded and inconvenient. She planned to ask Beige to find a house with a yard or rent a house. She did not plan to buy a house in Jucheng. After going to Shanghai for the college entrance examination, she would buy a house in Shanghai and sell them all when the price was at its highest. After experiencing the end of the world, she was not interested in real estate. No matter how many houses she had in the end of the world, they could not be exchanged for a pound of food. Second sister, are you really going to let me sleep? Tang Dandan was so excited that she dared not breathe. If she could live in a single room, the second sister would be her closest sister, and her parents would lean back.
Yeah.
Tang Nianyan smiled. This cousin had a good personality. Like Jujin, she was cheerful and lively. Although she had some tricks, they were mostly for food. What bad intentions could a person who played tricks just for food have? Second sister, I love you so much. If she hadn't been holding a basin of water in her hand, Tang Dandan would have jumped up 3 feet high. She was not very active in work before, but now she was very active. She ran to the water room to pour out the dirty water, and came back with clean water. She wiped it with a grunt and urged her parents to work faster. Did someone pull out your lazy muscles? Xian Jinju was annoyed. She was lazy before and would only move once after being called 10 times, but now she was as energetic as if she had been injected with chicken blood. Second sister said that this house will be for me to live in from now on. Tang Dandan wiped the table happily. Tang Manin and his wife were stunned for a moment, then overjoyed. They looked at Tang Nian and asked, "Are you living with Dandan?" "Let Dandan live. I'll rent a house outside. It's convenient for me to do things." Tang Nian didn't explain too much. Tang Manin and his wife thought deeply, thinking that Tang Nian had to contact those 7th and 8th level masters, so it was indeed inconvenient for her to live in the factory, and it would be a bad influence if people saw her. If their daughter could move out, the couple could live in a single room. Their son only comes home once a month, so it can be ignored. They don't have to hold back on doing anything at night. Tang Manin became more and more excited as he thought about it. His hands involuntarily sped up, and so did Xian Jinju. The three of them were like chicken blood, and they cleaned the room in a short while. Xian Jinju moved quickly, going downstairs to get the bedding and making it ready for them to live in at night. "Nian, you and Dandan will sleep at night. I'll stay in the guest house." Tang Nian refused. She planned to stay in the space for one night. The wooden house was almost built, and the bed and quilt were ready. It was more comfortable than living in a guest house. "Then I'll take you there." Tang Manin didn't force her to stay. His niece was capable, and it was not his turn to be the boss of this girl. Seeing the brand new women's bicycle parked downstairs, Tang Manin's eyes bulged out, and he asked stutteringly, "Nian, did you bought a bicycle?" "Yes." Tang Nian got on the bicycle, put one foot on the ground with the tiptoe, and stepped on the pedal and started riding. She could ride a women's bicycle like this, but her legs were not long enough for a men's bicycle, so she could only slide up, which was a bit strenuous. Tang Manin followed behind with a lot of emotion. It was less than 10 days, and his niece became a formal worker, earning 98 yuan in salary, became a celebrity in front of the factory director, and bought a new bicycle. This girl was usually very lazy, but once she was not lazy, how could she be so capable? If his niece told him one day that she wanted to fly a plane, he would definitely believe it. Tang Nian really knew how to fly a plane. She learned it in the last days, and she even had several helicopters in her space. After sending her to the door of the guest house, Tang Manin saw his niece go upstairs with his own eyes and then rode back. But as soon as he left, Tang Nian came out. It was now 8:30 in the evening, and she planned to take a walk in the west of the city to see if she could lure out the perverted demon and enforce justice at the same time. Tang Nian found a deserted place and went into the space to look for the red scarf. She put all the personal belongings of the original body into the space, and there was also a biscuit box, which contained the original body's treasures. She tied the red scarf and looked at herself in the mirror, with a look of disgust on her face. So rustic. She saw the biscuit box from the corner of her eye, and Tang Nian had an idea and opened it, revealing colorful hairpins and hairbands, all of which were quite rustic, but in this era, they were the most fashionable, and they were all inlaid with sequins, sparkling. She saw a cloth bag lying quietly in the corner of the biscuit box, and couldn't help but pick it up and tear it open. Inside was a wolf tooth which the original body should have worn for many years, and the wolf tooth was nurtured to a jade color. "Little wolf, is this your wolf mother's tooth? I will always wear it." The soft voice of the little girl echoed in her ears, and a dark little boy appeared in front of her. He was short, black, and skinny. He looked very pitiful, but the boy's eyes were particularly bright, like obsidian. There was something strange. She received the memories of her original body. When she recalled the past, she was an outsider and didn't feel anything. It was like watching a movie, browsing the memories of her original body. But when she recalled this little wolf cub, she seemed to be integrated with her original body. She felt longing and melancholy, as well as gratitude and sweetness. She was obviously just an outsider who had nothing to do with this little wolf cub. Why did she have such complicated feelings? Tang Nian was too lazy to think about it. This little wolf cub was picked up by a jeep 6 years ago. It was said that his parents in the capital sent him. After that, there was no news of him. He probably forgot his original body. She looked at the wolf tooth and liked it more and more. She put it on her neck, planted dozens of acres of wheat in the space, and then went out. It was already 11 o'clock in the evening. The streets of Zhucheng were deserted, and almost no pedestrians could be seen. Tang Nianyan learned from the starling that the girls who had accidents were basically working night shifts. The accident happened on the way home from work between 11 and 12 o'clock. Shen Xiao quietly ambushed in a hidden place. He was alone. Too many people would alert the murder.
And he was enough.
As long as the murderer took action, he could subdue the murderer in the shortest time. But it had been 3 days, and the murderer seemed to have evaporated from the face of the earth, without any movement. On the deserted road, a young girl walked slowly. She was dressed very ordinary, but her figure was slim and her back was graceful. The dim street lights stretched her shadow particularly long. The girl tied a red scarf. She was a little nervous. She looked to both sides from time to time. Her body collapsed and her fists were clenched tightly, but you couldn't tell without a closer look. This girl was the daughter of a colleague of Wei Zhongqing. Young girls from the public security had been used as bait long ago, and the murderer was not fooled. Shen Xiao speculated that the murderer knew someone from the public security, so he suggested that a stranger be used as bait. But ordinary people would definitely not dare to take risks for such a dangerous thing, and they would not dare to let ordinary people perform such a dangerous task. Although Shen Xiao was good at fighting and could ensure the safety of the bait, he was afraid of the possibility. Finally, it was the daughter of Wei Zhongqing's colleague who volunteered to be the bait. Although the girl was full of enthusiasm, she was an ordinary person after all. When she was really carrying out the mission, she would inevitably be nervous and afraid. Shen Xiao sighed. The murderer was very careful and must have seen that the girl was the bait. He used the intercom to instruct Wei Zhongqing, who was lying in ambush dozens of meters away, closing the net. It was useless to go on like this. He had to find a new bait. The psychological quality must be tough, otherwise the murderer would never take the bait. Wei Zhongqing imitated the call of a jackdaw a few times, which sounded a little scary in the quiet night. The young girl breathed a sigh of relief and quickly went to the alley that had been agreed in advance to meet up with Wei Zhongqing and the others.
Uncle Wei, I'm sorry.
I can't control it. The girl felt guilty. She knew she had to act calm, but she just couldn't control it. She was so useless.
You did a good job.
You are great. Wei Zhongqing patted the shoulder a few times to encourage her. It was very good to dare to be a bait. The murder was too cunning. Shen Zhao's voice came from the intercom. Retreat. I'll ask the army to send someone. Only female soldiers from the army could be used as bait because ordinary girls have poor psychological quality. Wei Zhongqing breathed a sigh of relief. It couldn't be better if the army was willing to send someone. He was about to take his brothers off work when something new happened on the road. A beautiful girl who made people unable to take their eyes off walked slowly, with a red scarf tied around her neck. Wei Zhongqing couldn't help but curse. This girl was Shen Zhao's sweetheart, the one who ate delicious meat in the restaurant. Why was she not sleeping in the middle of the night and wandering around here?
Wait.
Wei Zhongqing asked his brothers to ambush and prepare to keep an eye on this girl and take action if something happened. Shen Xiao also saw Tang Nianyan. He followed her like a ghost, and no one could find him unless he wanted to be found. Tang Nianyan didn't feel that there was someone behind her. She deliberately came here to stroll just to lure the snake out of its hole. Achoo! The wind at night was like an ice knife. Whizzing. Tang Nianyan sneezed several times and blew her nose. She glanced at the alley next to her casually, but a cold smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. Sure enough, she took the bait. Shen Xiao also found out, and he asked Wei Qingzong and the others not to move, so as not to alarm the murderer. In the darkness, a pair of obscene and crazy eyes stared at Tang Nianyan. It was a man in his 40s, short, ugly, and with a figure like Wu Dalong. He was too lazy to make a move on the girl before, not because he saw anything but because she didn't look right to him, and he didn't want to waste time. His vision is very high, and ordinary looks can attract him. The man's eyes stared at Tang Yinyan, getting brighter and brighter, and grinned. This woman was the most beautiful he had ever seen, and she must be a lewd.
Deserve to die.
The man's face was distorted, even uglier, and he muttered something in his mouth, as if cursing someone. Tang Yinyan walked slowly, as if she didn't see anything. She passed the alley where the man was hiding and deliberately quickened her pace, then turned into an alley in front. The alleys in Zhucheng are all connected, and one can go through another alley from this alley. Tang Yinyan knew that the devil must be lying in ambush in the alley. Sure enough, as soon as she walked into the alley, a strong wind blew over, hitting the back of her head. The man wanted to knock her out first, then take her away, humiliate her, and kill her. Several victims had done the same thing before. Tang Yinyan flashed and was about to subdue but someone was faster than her.
Ah.
Let me go. What did I do? Why are you arresting me? And sweeping the floor. The man spoke in the local dialect of Zhucheng, and he was very confident. He was holding a shovel in his hand, and there was a garbage truck parked next to him, as well as a broom. He was wearing the work clothes of a sanitation worker. Mina was right. He was indeed a sanitation worker. Chun Xiao subdued the person with one hand and said to Tang Yinyan, "Why are you still going out so late?" His tone was a little dissatisfied. This girl was too brave. What if the murderer succeeded? Chun Zhao's heart tightened and fear swept over him. It was a feeling he had never experienced before. Even when facing a group of ferocious enemies alone, he had never been afraid. If you want to come out, just come out. Tang Yinyan walked up to the perverted man and kicked him several times. She came out specifically to satisfy her urge to, but in the end, she didn't even move her muscles and bones, and was destroyed by this guy. She glared at Chen Xiao in dissatisfaction. He was so dark, just like that heartless little wolf cub. It's not your fault that you are ugly, but you come out to hurt others. You deserve to be killed by 1,000 cuts and torn into pieces. Even after death, your bones will be ground into ashes and thrown into a cesspool to rot. You pervert only dare to bully women. Calling you a beast is an insult to beasts. Why didn't your mother give you a human heart? How dare you set your sights on me? Do you think all women are easy to bully? Tang Yinyan kicked faster and faster. What she hated most was the who bullied women, especially since he is a pervert and uses such cruel means to harm women. We should really restore the 10 tortures of the Qing dynasty and use them on this in turn. Wei Zhongcheng and his colleagues all lowered their heads, trying hard to hold back their laughter. This pretty girl's way of swearing was really novel and her skills were extraordinary. No wonder she dared to come out alone so late at night. You should thank them. Tang Yinyan felt sorry. She had planned to cut off the tools used to commit the crime after catching this pervert, then take him to the suburbs and have him buy a few male dogs. After leaving him with a breath, she would cut off the reproductive organs and then hang him on the city gate. No, there is no city gate now, so she would just hang him in the park to apologize in the wind and sun. That's what it means to punish criminals. There's no point in giving a few years in prison, as they will continue to do evil things after they are released. Unfortunately, it was all destroyed by these people. Tang Yinyan couldn't help but glare at Chen Xiao and the others again. They didn't come earlier or later, but just happened to run into her. Chen Xiao was bewildered by the glare, but there was a hint of smile in his eyes, and the way he glared was exactly the same as when he was a child. "Girl, where do you live? We'll take you home." Wei Qingzong asked. "No, I'm just coming out for a walk." Tang Yinyan wanted to go into the space to sleep and didn't want anyone to follow her. "I'll take you there." Chun Zhao's tone was unyielding, and Wei Qingzong was sensible enough to take the perverted man away, leaving the space for the young couple. "Are you going back to Tang Village?" Shen Xiao asked. "Who are you?" Tang Yinyan suddenly became alert. Last time she knew that she didn't like to eat mustard greens, and now she knew that she lived in Tang Village. How did this man know everything about her? Who is he?
"I'm Chen Xiao."
Chen Xiao reported his name, but he didn't expect the girl to remember it. After all, she used to call him Little Wolf. "Sure enough, I don't know him." Tang Yinyan snorted, pulled off the red scarf around her neck, and stuffed it into her pocket. She also pulled out the wolf fong and threw it outside her clothes. Chun Zhao's eyes softened, and he deliberately asked, "Who gave you this wolf fang?" A heartless thing. Tang Nianyan actually guessed Chun Zhao's identity. He was so dark, but he knew her preferences very well. He asked about the wolf fang again. Apart from that heartless wolf cub, it should be no one else. How come this black charcoal wolf cub suddenly grew so tall? It was shorter than her when it was young. Now she has to look up to see it. Not happy. Tang Nianyan puffed up her cheeks angrily, turned around and left. She didn't even realize that she suddenly felt a little emotional. Chun Xiao chuckled and caught up with her in just one big step, explaining in a nice and gentle voice, "I've been on missions all these years and have had no way to contact the outside world. It's not that I didn't write to you on purpose. I thought you were going to default on your debt after eating so much of my food."
Tang Nian not.
She was a glutton when she was little, and she gave all the delicious food to this heartless man, and he never heard from her again after he left. I've always remembered it.
I've saved all my salary for you.
Chun Xiao smiled even more and took out a passbook from his pocket. On it was all his salary over the past few years, as well as his bonuses. He didn't have much money to spend in the army, so he saved almost all of it. "Why do I need your salary?" Tang Nianyan rolled her eyes. She was not this guy's wife, and it would be unreasonable for her to take his salary without a legitimate reason. "We agreed before that I would give you all the money I made. Nian, you promised." Chun Zhao's tone was a little aggrieved. His face was obviously cold, and he kept strangers away, but now there was more resentment, as if Tang Nianyan had let him down. "Aren't you looking for a partner? Let your wife manage your salary," Tang Nianyan said angrily and refused to take the passbook. "No change, I'll give it to you." Chun Zhao's tone was firm and a little doting. Seeing that Tang Nianyan refused to take it, he simply stepped forward to stop her, picked her up with one hand, and stuffed the passbook into her hand. Tang Nianyan suddenly became furious and launched an attack quickly, but her strength and speed were no match for Xin Xiao. She threw a punch, but Xin Xiao's big hand was like a large intestine wrapped around a small intestine, grabbing it. She kicked, and the same thing happened. She was so angry that she bared her teeth and bit the guy's neck. Chun Xiao froze, his expression dazed, and then a few red clouds floated out of his dark face, burning like he had a fever. He dared not move, allowing Tang Nianyan to bite him. Even though the bite drew blood, Xin Xiao didn't feel any pain. To him, such a little pain was just like a tickle. He unconsciously tightened his arms, holding the person tightly in his arms, and the temperature of the body became hotter and hotter, and even the air around him began to heat up. "Let me go, or I'll bite your neck off." Tang Nianyan was very proud and thought that this guy was controlled by her. After all, she was biting the neck of fate. Xin Xiao put it down obediently and looked at her with a little more burning eyes. Just now, an idea suddenly came to him. He wants to marry Nian as his wife. I never had such an idea before. I just wanted to find my childhood friend and protect her well. Although he had no contact with Tang Nianyan, he was always keeping an eye on her movements. He knew about her engagement and broken engagement with Qi Guohua. He was in the Shanghai military region and didn't go anywhere. He was not far from Zhucheng and could find out news about Tang Village at any time. This time, I came to Zhucheng to investigate the case, and also to find Nian. Just now, when Nian bit him, he suddenly understood. Why should Nian marry another man? Why not marry one himself? Nian, be my wife. Chen Xiao is a person with strong execution ability. Once he has an idea in his mind, he will execute it immediately. Tang Nianyan blinked, making sure she had heard it right. This guy actually wanted to marry her? Worse than beasts. She is only 17.
No.
Tang Nianyan refused arrogantly. She didn't want to get married now. Even if Chen Xiao had good conditions, he couldn't impress her. When are you going to get married? Chen Xiao was very patient. It didn't matter if she didn't get married now. It wouldn't be too late to get married later. It depends on my mood. Tang Nianyan originally wanted to say that she would never get married, but somehow when the words came to her lips, they turned into "it depends on my mood," and she found that she was not actually repulsed by Chen Xiao, but had a very special feeling for him. For example, she was very resistant to physical contact from others, except Chen Xiao. When Chen Xiao hugged her just now, if it was someone else, she would definitely use a killing move, but not against Chen Xiao.
Okay.
Chen Xiao agreed happily. Anyway, Nian Nian couldn't get the marriage certificate now, so he would wait for 2 years. He stuffed the salary card into Tang Nian Nian's pocket. They had agreed at the beginning that all the money he earned would be given to Nian Nian, and now he came to fulfill his promise. Tang Nian Nian opened the passbook and originally thought that there would be only a few hundred yuan at most, but she didn't expect that there was more than 12,000 yuan. Did you rob a bank? Tang Nian Nian blurted out. This guy is only 20 and has been in the army for only 3 or 4 years at most. How can he get such a high salary? There are also bonuses for completing missions. There are also some things in Shanghai. I'll take you to see them when the time comes. Chen Xiao pulled the person closer. They almost fell into the ditch just now. Nian Nian was still like when she was a child. She liked to run into ditches when walking and jumped into puddles on rainy days. She would cry if her clothes were splashed with dirt.
What is it?
Tang Nian Nian was very curious and wanted to see it now. Shiny little things. Chen Xiao smiled, revealing his white teeth. Nian Nian has liked shiny glass beads and shiny hairpins since she was a child. What he collected were definitely not glass beads, but various gems and jewels, which he found when he was on a mission. He did not hand them in, but hid them all for Nian Nian. Tang Nian Nian's eyes lit up again, and she blurted out, gems? She had collected a lot of sparkling, colorful gems in her space. These things were worthless in the end times. A few bags of instant noodles could be exchanged for a 10-carat diamond. She had space and plenty of food, so she exchanged them for a lot of sparkling gems. Others thought these gems were flashy and they thought she was stupid, but she liked them. She didn't know why, but she was so happy when she saw these sparkling gems. In this respect, she was quite similar to her original self. Both of them liked sparkling things. But her beauty quotient is definitely higher than her original self. The things in her original self's treasured cookie box were all so tacky and far inferior to the treasures collected in her space. Not only that, there are also emeralds, cat's eyes, rubies, sapphires, jadeite of various colors, and diamonds.
They are all very bright.
Chen Zhao's voice is a very pleasant subwoofer, a little hoarse and a little crisp, just like a built-in speaker, and he can speak authentic Zhuqing dialect. Tang Nian Nian's eyes lit up. They were all her favorites. She really wanted to see these sparkling little things right now, but she still kept her dignity and straightened her face, and rejected them coldly. Your things have nothing to do with me. She also returned the passbook to Chen Xiao. She is not a stupid woman who would lose herself for a little thing, nor is she a love-brained woman. A light laugh sounded in her ears, and the passbook was stuffed into her pocket again. Chen Xiao lowered his head and breathed into her ear. What's mine is yours, Nian Nian. Tang Nian Nian's face felt hot, and her heart beat a little faster. It was terrible. This guy was so good at teasing. She has such a nice voice, is pretty, has a good figure, is rich, and is a good person. If she refuses such a perfect guy who comes to her door automatically, it would be too inhumane. Then I'll keep it for you first. Tang Nian Nian put away the passbook, took out a handful of money from his pocket, and stuffed it into Chen Zhao's pocket without counting. Your pocket money. After receiving 12,000 yuan from someone, it was only natural for her to give him 100 yuan as pocket money. She was not a stingy person. Chen Xiao laughed again. He didn't know how many times he had laughed since he met Tang Nian Nian. If his comrades in the army saw it, their eyes would definitely burst out, and they would even doubt that they were blind. They would not think that what they saw was real. How can a 1,000-year-old iceberg melt? Chen Xiao did not refuse the pocket money, which was given by Nian Nian. He put it into his pocket solemnly, and then naturally took the hand of the girl beside him, just like when they were children. Tang Nian Nian did not refuse, she just held his hand, and she did not mind Chen Zhao's touch. Chen Xiao drove a car and parked it a little far away. It was the Armed Forces Department's car, an old jeep. I'll take you to the guest house. I'll stay there too. Chen Xiao started the car. After arriving in Zhucheng, he stayed in the guest house of the Armed Forces Department. Do you work in the public security department? Tang Nianyan was a little curious about his life over the years. She hadn't heard any news about this guy since he was brought back to Beijing 5 years ago. No, I'm in the Shanghai military region, and sometimes I assist the police in investigating cases. Then when will you return to Shanghai? Tang Nianyan asked. Do you want to go to Shanghai to play in 3 days? Chen Xiao was a little excited. He wanted to take Nian Nian to see the house he decorated. He decorated it bit by bit according to Nian Nian's preferences. He knew that Nian Nian was not the biological child of the Tang family. Her parents were from Shanghai. He had found out some things over the years. Nian Nian's biological parents also had the surname Tang. Before liberation, the Tang family was ranked among the top 10 in Shanghai. The Tang family ran textile factories and printing and dyeing factories and also had shares in banks with extremely abundant assets. However, many of the Tang family's children went overseas. Tang Nianyan's father was of the Tang family, and her biological mother was very favored and received a lot of property. 17 years ago, the situation was unstable and Tang Nianyan's parents were implicated and had to flee to the other side. However, Tang Nianyan was just born at that time. No one knew what would happen on the road. They did not dare to take their young daughter on the adventure, so they entrusted Tang Nianyan to old man Tang Qingshan. Chen Xiao only found out these, and he couldn't find out whether Tang Nianyan's biological parents were alive or dead. Tang Nianyan is still very curious about the current Shanghai. She lived in Shanghai in her previous life and doesn't know what Shanghai is like now. I'm busy right now. I'll come to see you later. Tang Nianyan felt a little regretful, but she still had to take exams at the tractor factory and the agricultural machinery factory, as well as a sock machine factory. Making money was more important, and she could do romance later. Okay. Chen Xiao was not disappointed. He would return to the army in 3 days and would probably be assigned another mission. He had turned down the mission at hand and came to Zhucheng before. He didn't know why, but he had a strong feeling that he would regret it if he didn't come to Zhucheng. Fortunately, he came, otherwise Nian Nian would have met a perverted murderer, and he dared not even think about the consequences. He has to take on more tasks after he returns. After all, he is a married man now and must make more money. He cannot let Nian Nian down. Will they treat you well after you go back? Tang Nianyan asked with concern. She still remembered the first time she saw Shen Xiao. Grandpa took her to the mountains to hunt, chasing a muntjac. The author is not sure how to pronounce G. Before they knew it, the grandfather and grandson went deep into the mountains. The old man wanted to retreat, but he found a deep owl crawling on the ground. A short and thin little black boy, with a dirty face except for his eyes that were particularly bright, with a few strips of cloth hanging on his body, almost, and very long hair, like a little savage. At that time, Shen Xiao of Jizi could talk, but he didn't like to talk. He would howl like a wolf at any time and ran like a wolf very fast. However, his condition was not very good at that time. He had scratches from animals, and they were inflamed. The grandfather and grandson brought Chen Xiao back home and treated his wounds, but he was very resistant to humans. Only when Tang Nianyan approached him would he not bare his teeth, but he was not very friendly either. Later, Shen Xiao went to live in the cowshed. At that time, there were 5 or 6 old men in the cowshed, and their origins were quite mysterious. They were very nice to Shen Xiao and taught him how to read and learn etiquette. Soon, Shen Xiao no longer crawled like a wolf and spoke fluently. But he didn't play with the children in the village, only with Tang Nianyan. He also talked about his previous life in the mountains. He was abandoned on the mountains in Zhucheng and adopted by a wild wolf couple. When the grandfather and grandson met him in the mountains, his wolf father and mother had both passed away. He was rejected by the wolf pack and escaped death several times. A few years later, someone from the capital came and took Shen Xiao away, and there was no news of him since then. Average, I treat them the same way, Chen Xiao said indifferently, as if he was talking about an outsider. Shen Xiao slowed down the car, driving as slow as a snail, and talked about his life in the Shen family over the years. Although he is not talkative, it does not mean that he does not understand. The Shin family is well known in the capital, and his father has a good position in the army, but he handles household affairs in a mess. His mother suffered heavy bleeding when giving birth to him. Although she did not die at that time, her body collapsed and she passed away 2 years later. When he was 3 years old, his father married his mother's stepsister. This stepsister was a hypocrite with a sweet mouth but a black heart. Everyone in the capital praised her as a good stepmother, but it was this good stepmother who abandoned him on the mountain, along with the hands and feet of his maternal family and the Shin family. The situations of my maternal family and the Shin family are very complicated. None of them can be trusted, except my uncle. Shin Xiao told Tang Nianyan that he only had one biological uncle, and the other so-called uncles were all his stepmother as brothers. His step-grandmother was just as good at acting as his stepmother. Fortunately, his grandfather finally came to his senses before he died and told only his uncle the secret of the Fu family's treasure trove. The key was also divided into two, half with his uncle and half with him. You and your uncle are incompatible with your stepmother. Tang Nianyan summed up. Chen Zhao's uncle and his mother and siblings had a hard time making a living under the stepmother's control. Chen Xiao himself almost died at the hands of his stepmother. It's such a sin. I won't let them hurt you, Chen Xiao promised. Although his wings are not fully grown now, he will do his best to protect Nian Nian. He has always wanted to find Nian Nian over the years, but he was afraid of bringing danger to Nian Nian. If he was not worried that Nian Nian would feel bad about breaking off the engagement, he would have endured it this time. He originally thought that he would meet Nian Nian when he was strong enough to compete with the Fu and Shin families. But now that they have recognized each other, he will do his best to protect Nian Nian and will never give those people the opportunity to take advantage of her. I'm not a rookie, just take care of yourself. Tang Nianyan rolled her eyes. She was actually looking forward to those people coming because she was itching to get her hands dirty. Shin Xiao chuckled. He had seen how ruthless and efficient Nian Nian was in dealing with a serial killer before. He was indeed capable of protecting himself. He was not surprised. Nian Nian had been hunting in the mountains with her grandfather since she was a child, so it was normal for her to be good at it. Moreover, Nian Nian was stronger than ordinary girls when she was young, but she was lazy and didn't like to do things. Arriving at the armed forces guest house, Shin Xiao parked the car, took out his ID to register, and opened a room for Tang Nianyan right next to him. I'm sleeping next door, call me if you need anything. Chen Xiao made the bedding and went to get some hot water. After all that work, he returned to his room. Tang Nianyan closed the door, sat on the bed for a while, and couldn't help laughing. After soaking her feet in hot water, Tang Nianyan went to bed to rest. It was almost 12 o'clock now. It was the first time she slept so late since she came here. She fell asleep not long after going to bed. Nianyan, I'm late. I will ask those people to come down to accompany you. Chen Zhao's voice sounded in his ears, but it was cold and ruthless, as if it came out of, completely different from Chen Zhao's voice tonight. Tang Nianyan wanted to open her eyes, but she floated up. Her body was very light. She floated in the air and saw a grave mound and a tombstone. It reads, "The tomb of my love Tang Nianyan." A man is kneeling in front of the grave and digging a hole. There are many sparkling gems placed next to it. It is Chen Xiao. But at this time, Shin Xiao was so cold that people dared not approach him. He dug a hole 1 foot deep, buried all the gems in it, covered it with soil, and planted bright red azaleas in front of the grave. This is Tang Nianyan's favorite flower. Rhododendron was a childhood snack. Every spring, the mountains would be covered with rhododendrons. They were bright red and looked beautiful when worn on the head. The petals were edible, very sour, but for rural children, they were also a delicious delicacy. When Tang Nianyan was a child, she would pick a lot of azaleas and put them in cans. She would also put a few flowers on her head and make a wreath with wild grass and hang it around her neck. Chen Xiao knew that she liked it, so he would go to the mountains to pick azaleas every spring. She wanted to call Chen Xiao, but she couldn't open her mouth. She reached out to touch him, but her hand passed through his body. Tang Nianyan watched Chen Xiao leave. She also watched him risking his life to avenge her. The entire family of Yang Baozhen, who had tortured her to death, died. But when he was about to attack Qi Guohua, this attacked him first. During a mission, Qi Guohua plotted against Shen Shao. Although he did not die, he broke one leg and could no longer stay in the army. After Chen Shao left the army, he disappeared, but in the following years, Qi Guohua, Lu Jinglan, Zhou Siren, Yang Hongling, and those who had assisted Zhou in abusing Tang Nianyan all died unexpectedly.
It was all done by Shen Shao.
The Zhou family found someone to join forces to deal with him and set a trap, using her relics as bait. Tang Nianyan shouted loudly, trying to remind him not to go, but Shen Shao could not hear her voice. She watched Shen Shao die under the siege of the crowd, his body covered in blood. When he died, he called out Nianyan, with a smile on his face and the wolf tooth tightly clenched in his hand. Afterwards, Tang Nianyan dreamed of the end of the world again. She worked hard to learn skills and performed exceptionally well, but she was completely blocked by men's advances. Even in the end of the world, between men and women became very casual, and she could sleep with a high-quality handsome man with just a pack of biscuits. And because she had enough food, countless men took the initiative to get into bed with her, but Tang Nianyan was not moved. She seemed to be keeping her virginity for someone, but she didn't know who that person was. Chen Shao. Tang Nianyan screamed and woke up with cold eyes and murderous intent. Lu Jinglan, Qi Guohua, Zhou Siren, and those from the Shen family and the Fu family, she will not let any of them go. She is the original body. To be precise, she was transmigrated into a book and was a cannon fodder. The heroine was Lu Jinglan. After she died, her soul watched Shen Shao avenge her, and then watched him die with her own eyes. Although the process was slightly different, the ending was the same. He died at the hands of Lu Jinglan, Zhou Chun, and the three families of Fu. The Tang family and their biological parents also had tragic endings. She was very unwilling and full of resentment. Perhaps even the heaven could not bear it anymore and sent her to the end of the world, but also gave her a space, and then she came back. In this life, Lu Jinglan, Qi Guohua, as well as the Zhou family, the Shen family, and the Fu family will all die. Tang Nianyan's eyes were frighteningly cold, but soon warmed up, and she thought of Shen Shao.
Fool.
Tang Nianyan felt both pain and warmth in her heart. She was too incompetent before, but now that she has learned her skills, she will definitely not let Shen Shao get into trouble again. In this life, she will protect Shen Shao. The rooster crowed 3 times, and the sky was getting light. Tang Nianyan couldn't sleep, so she went into the space to work. She planted hundreds of acres in one go. The seedlings, wheat, and corn that she had planted before were growing well. It looked like they would ear in a few days. Tang Nianyan calculated that the growth rate was about 3 times faster than outside the space, so she wouldn't have to worry about food and clothing in the future. Maybe she had such a miserable life in her previous lives that the heaven felt sorry for her and gave her such a huge compensation. Tang Nianyan came out of the space, took a shower, and then there was a knock on the door. Nianyan. It was Chen Shao. Having gone to bed too late last night, he intentionally came to knock on the door a little later to let Nianyan sleep a little longer. It's 9 o'clock now. If you don't get up now, the canteen will not serve breakfast. Tang Nianyan opened the door. She had just been drying her hair, and her body was still covered in moisture and the delicate scent of shower gel. Shen Zhao's face suddenly became hot, and red clouds floated on his dark face, but fortunately, his face was dark, so it was not easy to see. Breakfast is not served at 9:30. Chen Shao looked away, not daring to look at the beautiful girl in front of him. Ever since he had the idea of marrying Nianyan, he felt more and more guilty when facing her, and always had some bad thoughts. For example, now he especially wants to kiss Nianyan's mouth. It feels very sweet. But he was afraid of scaring Nianyan, so he tried hard to restrain himself. Tang Nianyan could see through the guy's shyness at a glance and secretly laughed. She tied her wet hair loosely and said, "Let's go." There were basically no customers in all the restaurants at this time, and there were not many varieties of breakfast. Tang Nianyan ordered 2 servings of salty soy milk, 3 baskets of steamed dumplings, 6 fried dough sticks, and 10 meat buns. Xin Xiao had a big appetite, and so did she. Salty soy milk steamed buns. She still had a lot of meat coupons and food coupons on her, so she took the initiative to pay, and Xin Xiao didn't argue. From now on, all his money will be handed over to him, and naturally Nian Nian will be in charge of his meals. Comrade Shen, who's your girlfriend? The canteen chef was a fat man with a ruddy face. He was very humorous and would usually joke with Xin Xiao. When he saw that Xin Xiao brought a beautiful girl to dinner, he winked and asked in a low voice.
Yeah.
Xin Xiao nodded. Everyone in the cafeteria was shocked, and the 2 young girls' hearts were broken. They fell in love with Chen Xiao at first sight. Even though Chen Xiao never paid any attention to them, they couldn't stop their love for him. They even thought about asking someone to act as a matchmaker for them in a few days, but they didn't expect that they all had a partner. She's such a beautiful girl, they have no competitiveness at all. The 2 girls went to the kitchen sadly and huddled together for warmth. It was obvious that 10 minutes ago, they were competitors who disliked each other, but now they had become people who shared the same suffering and were frustrated. There's nothing good about Chen Xiao. He's like an ice cube. If you live with a guy like him, you'll definitely get a stomach problem. Girl A gnashed her teeth and said, "That's right, just looking at him makes my teeth freeze and affects my appetite. Fortunately, we are not with him." Girl B also gritted her teeth. "My aunt introduced me to a guy who works as a public security officer. I will meet him tomorrow, and if all goes well, we can get the marriage certificate this year." Girl A said modestly, "The man my aunt introduced to me is a battalion commander in the army. He will come back to visit next month, and he will be able to join the army after getting the marriage certificate." Girl B was not willing to be outdone. She is also very popular, and she doesn't like ordinary men. The 2 girls were not sad for long. They soon cheered up and started to dislike each other again. When they saw the 2 of them hugging each other, their expressions changed drastically. They jumped up as if they had been electrocuted and patted their clothes in disgust. Humph! The 2 girls raised their heads and went to work with high morale. As 2 colorful flowers competing with each other in the Armed Forces Department cafeteria, they will never become close friends. Xin Xiao and Tang Niannian had already finished their breakfast and had eaten all the food they had bought. They had spent 5 yuan on food for the whole morning, as well as 2 kilograms of food coupons and 1 kilogram of meat coupons. After they left, the 2 girls felt lucky that they didn't like him. Otherwise, who could afford to support him? 50 yuan a month is not enough for food. Don't you have to go to work? Tang Niannian asked. She is going to the agricultural machinery factory to sign up. The case has been investigated, and I'm fine now. Shen Xiao saw that she had other plans, so he asked, "Aren't you going back to Tang Village?" "I'm now a regular employee of the Red Star Machinery Factory, earning 98 a month, plus bonuses. I will support you in the future." Tang Niannian was very proud, and she stood on tiptoe and patted Xin Xiao on the shoulder. From now on, this man will be under her protection. Niannian is so amazing. Chen Xiao raised the corners of his mouth, and the coldness on his body disappeared. When he was with Tang Niannian, he was like the warm sun. "These tickets are for you. Drink this." Tang Niannian took out a handful of food and meat tickets. Her man couldn't go hungry. She took out another glass of water with a few drops of spiritual spring in it. Xin Xiao had a bad childhood, and his physical foundation was a little weak. Drinking the spiritual spring could regulate his body. Chen Xiao drank the water without hesitation, still feeling a little unsatisfied. "It's so sweet." "This is a treasure. Of course it's sweet." Tang Niannian glared at him and dragged him back to the guest house. His body would be very dirty after drinking the spiritual spring. Chen Xiao soon noticed something strange about his body. It felt warm, and his strength seemed to have increased, especially abundant, and his body was sticky, but he didn't ask. Nian Nian would tell him what she wanted to say. "Go take a shower." After arriving in the room, Tang Niannian pushed him into the bathroom. Xin Xiao washed for half an hour before he washed all the dirt off his body. He felt the heat in his dantian, and his body became more flexible than before. When he came out, Tang Niannian didn't explain and directly pulled him into the space. In this world, besides Bai Sui, she can also trust Chen Xiao. Why should she not trust the man who gave his life to avenge her? Chen Zhao's eyes blurred, and he found that the surrounding environment had changed. He subconsciously protected Tang Nian behind him and took out a gun from his pocket. It's okay. This is my little world. It's very safe. Tang Nian asked him to put away the gun, took out a motorcycle, took him on a tour in the space, and told him the origin of the space. She didn't talk about her past lives, which were not pleasant experiences, and she just remembered them by herself. These things already exist in this space. When I plant all the black soil, you can afford to eat 10 meals a day. Tang Nian rode the bike with one hand and waved the other hand. With so much food, Chen Xiao would no longer have to go hungry. Perhaps because he had lived in the mountains since he was a child, Chen Xiao had food hunger and thirst. He would eat a lot every time he had a meal until he could not eat anymore. Tang Nian asked him about it, and he said that it was because he did not know when he would have his next meal. With her around from now on, Chen Xiao will no longer worry about not having the next meal. You can eat your fill at every meal, and there are both meat and vegetarian options. Chen Zhao's stern face turned into astonishment. Ever since he entered the space, his 3 perspectives had been severely shaken. The legendary mustard seed space actually existed, and it was from his family Nian. Let's plant the rest of the land. Chen Xiao quickly calmed down. He felt sorry for the empty land. It would be such a waste if he didn't plant crops. I don't have time, there are so many acres of land. Tang Nian also wanted to plant, but she was alone and could only plant a few hundred acres a day, but there were tens of thousands of acres here. I'll do it. Chen Xiao volunteered. He had nothing to do these few days anyway. Okay. Tang Nian agreed. After Chen Xiao left the space, he began to plan the space with great interest and even drew a picture. Dig a pond to grow lotus roots and raise fish, ducks and geese, raise pigs here and get some cattle and sheep, and plant the rest with grains and fruit trees.
Okay.
Tang Nian had no objection. Her storage capacity was negative. No matter how big the house is, even if it is a villa, it will eventually be messed up by Tang Nian. Unlike her colleague, whose 60-square-meter room is neatly organized and not crowded at all, and there are obviously quite a lot of things in it. The same goes for the space. Her things are piled up in a mess, and she is too lazy to organize them. Anyway, she can find whatever she wants, and it doesn't affect her use. Chen Xiao was a man with strong execution ability. Now that he had a plan, he left the space and said he was going to buy something. He also asked Tang Nian for a truck. As for the license plate problem, he said there was a way to solve it. Tang Nian didn't care. The two of them went to the grove, took out a truck, and agreed to meet there at 8 o'clock in the evening. After the two separated, they each went about their own business. Tang Nian went to the agricultural machinery factory to register. The examination time was separated from the tractor factory by 1 day. Everything was done. Tang Nian went to school. She didn't know how to study materials. She asked Lu Jin to find her going. It was lunchtime when she arrived. A group of students were running towards the cafeteria, like a charge. Tang Nian saw Tang Lu Jin, who was walking leisurely, at the back. Everyone in front of her had run away, but Tang Lu Jin was still walking slowly because she only ordered vegetarian dishes, and if she went last, the cafeteria auntie would give her all the remaining vegetarian dishes. If she was lucky, she could get 2 servings of dishes for the price of 1. You're not active in eating, there's something wrong with your brain. Tang Nian grabbed the man and ran away. She had never seen anyone who was so unenthusiastic about eating. If he didn't eat, all the food would be gone. Second sister Tang Lu Jin ran to the cafeteria door before she could react. You go line up over there. I'm here. Hurry up. Tang Nian directed her to line up, and she always chose the one with the shortest queue.
Oh.
Tang Lu Jin was a little confused and went to line up obediently. Although she could eat vegetarian food, it was her second sister's first time to eat at her school, so she must order meat dishes. It happened that the 10 yuan her second sister gave her last time had not been spent yet. Tang Nian was the first to line up. She said loudly, 2 servings of braised pork, 3 large chops, one serving of braised hairtail fish, a bowl of cabbage, and 1.5 pounds of rice. The cafeteria aunt and the students around were stunned, thinking Tang Yanyan was joking. For 2 people. Tang Yanyan reached into the window to pay for the money and food coupons and meat coupons. In addition to the school's meal tickets and vegetable coupons, the school cafeteria also accepted cash and food coupons. The cafeteria aunt took the money and ticket and served her the food quickly. But that hand was shaking like Parkinson's, and it kept shaking. "Auntie, if you shake again, all the meat will be gone," Tang Yanyan reminded coldly. It would be fine if it just shook once or twice, but the aunt originally scooped a spoonful of meat, which had at least 7 or 8 pieces in it. 2 of them fell off after she shook it, and now there were only 3 pieces of meat left in the spoon. Where is the conscience?
Puffed.
The classmates next to them couldn't help laughing. They didn't know which class this beautiful female classmate was from. They had never seen her before. It was really interesting. The aunt was a little annoyed and angry, and she banged the spoon loudly. She gave Tang Yanyan 2 portions of meat, but only the amount of 1 portion. The same for the braised hairtail fish, and the braised pork ribs were the smallest. "Grandma, you're better at skinning than the landlords in our village." After a few shakes, "All the vegetables are gone, and I can't even drink the soup." Tang Yanyan immediately gave this aunt a higher status. This woman was not a human being, but she never suffered any loss. "What did you call me? Are you blind? I'm only 40. The aunt picked up a spoon to teach this blind girl a lesson, but she couldn't hit her because of the window. "Grandma, I'm too old, and my hands don't shake as badly as yours. If I don't call you Grandma, should I call you sister?" Tang Yanyan was not afraid. She was a working-class woman who earned 98 yuan a month. What was she afraid of? The students next to her were all laughing to death. The nickname of this fat aunt was Yang Baopi. Her surname was Yang, and she was even more exploitative than Zhou Baopi. Every time she served the food, she would shake half of it. The students dared not say anything because Yang Baopi was the principal's sister-in-law. "I'm going to beat you to death, you nonsense girl. I worked so hard to serve you food, and you actually framed me. Do you know who I am?" The fat on the fat aunt's body was shaking with anger, and her eyes were sharper than knives. The other cafeteria employees tried to persuade her a few words in a proper manner and then ignored her. This principal's sister-in-law was acting like a bully and was more powerful than the cafeteria director in the cafeteria. They were hoping that the matter would get out of hand so that they could watch the fun. "I don't know. Do you know who I am?" Tang Yanyan shook her head honestly and asked back seriously. "Who are you?" The fat woman's arrogance weakened a little. She was not sure about Tang Yanyan's background. Did she have some powerful backer? Tang Yanyan was very satisfied. It would be easy if she didn't know. She reached into the window, snatched the fat woman's spoon, and added a few spoonfuls of meat and vegetables for herself. She was so quick and agile that the fat woman didn't even have time to react. She heard Tang Yanyan say, "I'm your aunt." She swung the spoon and was about to rush out to teach her a lesson, this ignorant little girl. Today she was going to teach this little girl a lesson. Tang Yanyan winked at Tang Lujin, who reacted quickly and ran away, reaching the outside of the cafeteria in one breath. Tang Yanyan was already walking ahead, with his lunchbox in his hand. The fat woman's roar and the students' laughter could also be heard in the cafeteria. "Second sister, you are so brave." Tang Lujin smiled helplessly. The second sister was too naughty and even Yang Baopi dared to teach her a lesson. However, Yang Baopi was really too much. She withheld food rations from her classmates and ate like a pig herself. The teachers and classmates in the school were all dissatisfied with her, but they couldn't do anything about her because she was the principal's sister-in-law. "Who is she?" Tang Yanyan took Lu Jin to the school garden. She used to go to school here and knew the school very well. But the principal when she was in school was not the current one. The principal's wife and sister. The two sisters found a clean step and sat down to eat. Tang Yanyan filled 2 lunchboxes with vegetables and 2 lunchboxes. She had plenty of lunchboxes in her space.
"Eat."
Tang Yanyan put the lunchbox on the ground and took out a spoon to eat. "Second sister, Why do you bring so many lunch boxes? Tang Lu-jin is very careful and not as easy to fool as Ju-jin. I come here specially to eat with you, so of course I have to bring a lunch box. I'm now a regular employee of the machinery factory, earning 98 yuan a month. In the future, don't always order vegetarian dishes. Given our current financial situation, we must eat meat. Tang Mianyan's tone warmed up a lot. In the past, she thought she was a stranger, and although she had a good impression of the Tang family, it was only to repay the original body's kindness. Now it's different. The Tang family is her relative. Cough, cough. Tang Lu-jin was so frightened that he choked on his food and his face turned red from coughing. Tang Mianyan slapped her the back several times, and Tang Lu-jin almost died. Ahem. Second sister, stop slapping me. If second sister continued to slap her, she would be dead. Drink water. Tang Mianyan took out a pot of water from her backpack and added some spiritual spring water into it. She would use it to regulate the health of all the members of the Tang family in the future. In the previous life, the Tang family was implicated by her, which led to the tragic ending of the family being broken up and everyone killed. Thinking of Tang Lu-jin's experience in his previous life, Tang Mianyan's eyes turned colder. In her previous life, when Tang Lu-jin was in her second year of high school, she moved bricks to a construction site after school to earn money in order to reduce the burden on her family. At that time, she had already married Yang Baogan's family and was not living well. A lot of things happened to the Tang family and they couldn't even pay the tuition. Tang Lu-jin thought of going to work. As a result, Tang Lu-jin got into trouble. On the way home from work, she was bullied by a gangster. Tang Lu-jin was very strong. She reported the case. Although the gangster was caught, her case was a hot topic. There were a lot of rumors in the school, so Tang Lu-jin had to drop out and go home.
The village also talked about it.
The most fierce ones were the Chi family. They also said that the girls of the Tang family were all fickle. Tang Mianyan hooked up with men, and Tang Lu-jin was the same. Otherwise, why didn't the gangsters bully others, but picked Tang Lu-jin to bully? Flies pick rotten meat. These words were spread by the Chi family, and people followed the crowd. Later, Tang Lu-jin was said to be and it was said that she specialized in that kind of business in the city and didn't go to school properly. Gossip can melt gold, and constant criticism can destroy a person. Although Tang Lu-jin was very strong, she was just a teenage girl after all. She didn't want her family to be humiliated because of her, so she jumped into the river when her family wasn't paying attention. But after she died, the rumors didn't stop. They said she committed suicide out of guilt, and that Tang Lu-jin's body was no longer innocent, and that the girls in the Tang family were not decent people. Tang Mianyan felt colder and colder, and her hands holding the chopsticks became tighter and tighter, almost breaking the chopsticks. Second sister, what's wrong with you? Tang Lu-jin's voice interrupted her recollection. The cold air on Tang Mianyan's body dissipated, and he picked up a large steak for her. Eat more vegetables. You're as thin as a rib. Second sister, how did you suddenly become a formal employee? What can you do? Tang Lu-jin couldn't understand why his second sister, who couldn't even tell the difference between leeks and wheat seedlings, could get a high salary of 98 yuan. His second uncle only made 18 yuan a month. Your second sister is very capable. Don't be stingy and eat vegetarian food in the future. It's okay to eat meat every meal. Tang Mianyan said in a loud voice, and took out a handful of money and bills and stuffed them into Tang Lu-jin's pocket. Just go to school with peace of mind. If you dare to go to the construction site to move bricks, I will break your legs. Tang Mianyan's tone was cold, but Tang Lu-jin was not afraid at all. She was scared by the money. Second sister, the money you gave me last time has not been spent yet. I don't want it. Are you mentally ill if you don't spend the money? Tang Mianyan glared at her unhappily, stuffed the money bills into her pocket forcefully, and said fiercely, "Spend it all."
Oh.
Tang Lu-jin didn't dare to refuse, so he took the money first and saved it for his second sister. She really didn't spend much money at school. This much money was enough for her to spend for a year. Second sister, will you work in the same unit with your second uncle in the future? Tang Lu-jin asked with concern. Well, I've allocated a room. You can sleep in that room on weekends. The key is with second uncle. Dandan sleeps there during the week. Tang Nianyan said. Second sister, what do you do at work? Tang Lu Jin was so curious. She couldn't imagine what second sister would do. Special talent. You are just a kid and don't understand. Eat quickly. Tang Nianyan was too lazy to explain. She picked up some braised pork for her. She didn't pick up any vegetables and the girl didn't pick any either. She just ate white rice. How stupid. Tang Lu Jin, shut up. Special talent sounds so amazing. Second sister is really capable. The two sisters finished all the food. Not even the soup was left. Tang Lu Jin looked thin, but she had a big appetite. In fact, people nowadays have big appetites. When they lack oil and water, they eat more. Burp. Tang Lu Jin felt a little full. He had never eaten so much before, and it was all meat. It was the first time in 16 years. Second sister, I found a few sets of study materials in my dormitory. Tang Lu Jin and the teacher asked for study materials. The textbooks in schools nowadays are very simple. The teacher gave her materials from the 1960s. She didn't know if her second sister could use them. She led her second sister to the dormitory. The dormitory building was very simple, but it was very tidy. There were 8 people in Tang Lu Jin's dormitory, and she slept on the lower bunk. Tang Lu Jin took out the materials from the cabinet. Coincidentally, it was the self-study series of mathematics, physics, and chemistry. There were 8 volumes, but only 3 volumes were what Tang Nianyan needed. The others were duplicates. The self-study series of mathematics, physics, and chemistry has a total of 17 volumes. I'll take these 3 volumes. Can you find the other 2 volumes? Tang Nianyan took 3 volumes and asked Tang Lu Jin to ask about the missing 2 volumes. I'll ask the teacher, but he may not have them. Tang Lu Jin didn't dare to guarantee it. These books were also collected by the teacher with great difficulty. Tang Nianyan thought about it and took out another pack of milk powder and malted milk from the backpack. They were all unpacked and wrapped tightly with newspapers, and there were also a few apples. Give these things to your teacher. You can't ask for things for nothing.
Okay.
Tang Lu Jin had planned to take a holiday and go to the store to buy things to thank the teacher. The things that the second sister brought out must be better than what she bought. Take some time to read these books. You must read them carefully. Don't just listen to what the teacher says in class. Those are too simple. Tang Nianyan wanted Lu Jin to go to college. This girl is good at studying. If she starts to review now, she will definitely pass. But she couldn't tell Tang Lu Jin about the college entrance examination. She was afraid that Tang Lu Jin would accidentally tell others. She thought about it and said, after you graduate from high school, I will ask you about the recruitment examination. You must study hard. Many test points on my recruitment examination this time are not in the book. Fortunately, I have read the book before, so I can pass the exam. Second sister, did you get that 98 yuan job through the exam? Tang Lu Jin asked excitedly. That was obtained by real ability. I took the exam for the cotton mill. Second sister, are you going to work in 2 units? Tang Lu Jin's mind was a little confused. Second sister got 2 jobs at once. Did she split it in half? Tang Nianyan laughed. The one from the cotton mill was sold for 800 yuan. Tang Lu Jin took a breath, his eyes widened. The 3 words 800 yuan were ringing in his ears. My second sister could sell it for 800 yuan just by taking a job exam, but my second uncle had to work for 4 years without eating or drinking. If you study well, you can make money by taking the recruitment exam. Tang Nianyan quickly thought of the motivation to motivate her sister to study and told Tang Lu Jin in detail the secret of her taking the job exam. Second sister, you just listened to Hao Yuhua and then went to the cotton mill to earn 800 yuan? Tang Lu Jin's 3 views were shattered. She only knew that she had to work diligently to earn money before, but she didn't expect that money could be earned this way. This is much more than working. Opportunities are everywhere, but they are only for those who are prepared. If I don't study well and don't have a high school diploma, I will definitely not pass the exam. You should study hard, otherwise you won't be able to catch the opportunity when it comes to you. Tang Nianyan poured a bowl of fresh and delicious chicken soup for her sister. Tang Lu Jin nodded vigorously, and her thoughts changed qualitatively. You can't make money by working diligently. You must seize the opportunity to take shortcuts. She wants to study hard and make a lot of money. After successfully brainwashing her sister, Tang Nianyan left contentedly, and before leaving, she also reminded her, "Don't go to the construction site. Don't go out at night. Study hard at school." "I know. I won't go to the construction site." Tang Lujin thought her second sister was so strange. The construction site was hard and tiring, doing cow-horse work and earning money for fodder.
She was not that stupid.
She wanted to learn from her second sister and make a lot of money by taking advantage of the gaps. Tang Nianyan didn't know that her bowl of chicken soup turned her honest sister into a profiteer who was greedy for money in the future. After leaving school, Tang Nianyan went to the machinery factory again. She went directly to Director Wu's office and heard Director Wu's broken laughter at the door. "Xiao Qian, the shipyard's production task has not been completed, right? Don't be discouraged. After all, not every factory can deliver goods as quickly and well as our Red Star. Do you know what the shipyard's technician Zhu said when he came to inspect the goods today?"
Oh.
Director Wu paused intentionally, took a sip of tea, and continued to slowly stab Director Qian in the heart. Technician Zhu said that it was the first time he had seen parts with such high precision, and the deviations were almost exactly the same. What does this mean? It means that the masters of our Red Star factory have very steady hands. Technician Zhu also said that he would report truthfully after returning, and that he would give parts with higher precision to our Red Star for processing. Haha. Although the task is very difficult, the leaders trust us Red Star, and we Red Star must take the lead, forge ahead bravely, and complete the task excellently. Director Wu said a lot of nonsense, and Director Qian on the other end of the phone was almost vomiting blood. He had always won Red Star in the past, but this time he lost shamefully. Obviously, Red Star is only a 6th level fitter, old, and with unstable hands. How could he make faster progress than them? But the facts are in front of us. Director Qian has inquired and found that Red Star did deliver the parts ahead of schedule, and the scrap rate is almost 0. Each part is processed very perfectly, and it doesn't look like human work. But Director Qian knows that it is impossible for current machine tools to process such high-precision parts. It must be processed by humans, so Red Star must have brought in a 7th level fitter. Even level 8. Red Star. Wu Songyuan. Director Qian silently greeted Director Wu's ancestors, not showing it on the surface, and asked calmly, "Old Wu, when did your factory invite a level 7 master?" "It's a commercial secret, I won't tell you. I still have to report to Director Su." Director Wu laughed. He would not let his opponent know about Tang Nianyan, this treasure. Director Su is the head of the Industrial Bureau, and he was also the leader who praised Director Qian in public a few years ago. This time Red Star completed the shipyard task quickly and well. Director Su knew about it and called Director Wu to find out the situation. Director Qian almost smashed the phone when he heard the beeping in the microphone. He was not angry that Director Wu had taken the limelight, he was angry with himself. Director Wu could invite a level 7 master. Why couldn't he? He definitely didn't want to be compared with Wu. Secretary Zhang, go to Red Star and ask about the 7th level master. Director Qian gave the secretary a task. If Director Wu could dig up the 7th level master, he would pry into Red Star's corner. There is no corner in the world that can't be dug, it just depends on whether the is sharp or not. Tang Nianyan listened at the door for a while, and felt that the two directors were so naive. She even wanted to tell Director Wu that it was useless to fight now. In a dozen years, Red Star and Tianjin would merge into one and become a joint stock company. The final outcome of many state-owned factories is to become joint stock companies. Red Star and Tianjin could not escape this fate. Tang Nianyan knocked on the door, and after getting permission, she pushed the door open. When Director Wu saw her, he immediately smiled and greeted her warmly. "Xiao Tang is here, come and sit down. I was just looking for you." Director Wu personally brewed tea, and it was tea foam. It was not that he was reluctant to give up good tea, but these tea foams were the best he could give. "Here." Tang Nianyan took out a bag of tea from the backpack, wrapped in newspaper. Director Wu opened the can, and the aroma of tea hit him. Although he didn't know much about tea, he knew it was good tea when he smelled it. He couldn't help but smile. Xiao Teng, where did you get such good tea? My grandma fried it. There are plenty of tea leaves on the mountain. Tang Mianyan glanced at Director Wu's shiny Mediterranean head and felt a little sympathetic. He has been suppressed by Qianjin for so many years that he has become bald. What a sin! Director Wu was so moved that his nose was a little dry. No wonder everyone said that they wanted to have a daughter. Xiao Tang was so considerate. She only knew him for a few days, and she was worried about him not having tea to drink. His two conscienceless sons at home never thought about him as a father. Thank you, Xiao Tang. Director Wu sniffed, took the tea leaves like a treasure, and then talked about business. The shipyard had a batch of high-precision parts. The quantity was a bit large, and the time was tight. It couldn't be finished in a short time. He wanted Hongxing to process this batch of parts. The precision was higher than the previous batch. Director Wu wanted to ask Tang Mianyan if he could take it. Do you have the drawings? Tang Mianyan asked. Here. Director Wu took out a few drawings from the drawer. These parts were not from the same batch, and the precision was different. The shipyard was developing new products, and it failed after several tests because the precision of the parts did not meet the standards. Tang Mianyan looked at the drawings carefully. They were all small parts, but the precision requirements were very high. If they were done by manpower, the efficiency would be very low. But her machine tool would be no problem at all. Okay. Tang Mianyan nodded. Her machine tool could guarantee this precision, but it was a little troublesome. The parts were different, and the processing procedures were naturally different, but it was not a big deal for her. It just took some time. Director Wu rubbed his hands with joy and asked again, Is it really okay? Yes. How much is the bonus this time? Tang Mianyan asked directly about the bonus. If it was only 50, she would not do it. 100 okay? Director Wu asked with a smile. If this batch of parts could be completed successfully, there would definitely be a reward from above, and he could still guarantee 100 yuan. Okay. Tang Mianyan agreed, and asked Director Wu to find her after the goods arrived, and then said goodbye and left. It would take 3 days for this batch of goods to be shipped from Shanghai, and she couldn't finish it too quickly. With so many parts, even an 8th-level master couldn't make them in a few days. Tang Mianyan decided to control it to be completed within a week, so as not to arouse suspicion. After leaving the machinery factory, it was still light, and Tang Mianyan ran to find Beige and asked him to help find a house. There was only one requirement, that it was quiet and clean, and the furniture was preferably ready-made. This little thing was not a big deal for Beige, and he said that it could be done within 3 days. Tang Mianyan exchanged some food coupons and meat coupons with Beige, and rode around the city. After dark, she went to the grove in the west of the city on time. Xin Xiao had already arrived, and the truck was very lively. Ba 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 ga ga jie mu mu hum 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 chi chi chi. Tang Mianyan climbed onto the truck to see. Wow, it can even open a breeding farm. Chickens, ducks, geese, pigs, cattle, and sheep, all alive, and all kinds of fruit tree seedlings and crops. No one knows where Xin Xiao got them from. I went to the mountains to exchange them with farmers. Xin Xiao grabbed Tang Mianyan's hand, and the two entered the space, along with the truck. Mianyan, go to sleep, I'll work. Xin Xiao didn't let her do it. After drinking the spiritual spring water, he was full of energy and could kill 10 tigers. He had to find a place to vent. Tang Mianyan didn't plan to do it. She lay on the rocking chair, eating melon seeds, and leisurely admired the heroic figure of the man working. Xin Xiao was almost omnipotent. He could drive an excavator, a seed drill, and a tractor. It didn't take long for him to dig a big pond, plant a few lotus roots, and put fish fry. Then he put ducks and geese into the pond, and planted fruit trees and rice seedlings. The water was directly led to the riverside. There was a river in Zhucheng, and the water resources were abundant. Tang Mianyan would go to the riverside when she had nothing to do, and lead the water into the space. There was no shortage of water at all. Tang Mianyan yawned and fell asleep. In the dimness, it seemed as if someone covered her with a blanket. She did not open her eyes and slept very soundly. Xin Xiao looked at the beautiful girl stupidly, hesitated for a long time, looked around, lowered his head and pecked Tang Niannian on the forehead. It was as fast as lightning, but it made him blush and his heart beat like a drum. Chen Xiao originally just wanted to give her a light peck, but when his lips touched the girl's soft and smooth skin, he felt tingling and sweet, like an electric current, and this feeling made him reluctant to let go. He stared at the girl's petal-like mouth, which was rosy and must be sweeter than cherries just picked from the tree. It would be great if he could have a taste of it. Chen Xiao used all his strength to suppress the desire in his heart, for he was afraid of scaring Nian Nian. He squatted beside the recliner, looking at the girl's sleeping face greedily. He would never get tired of looking at her like this for the rest of his life. Tang Niannian was already awake. She woke up when Xin Xiao kissed her forehead. Having endured the apocalypse for 3 years, she never dared to fall into a deep sleep. Even if she had traveled back in time and there was no danger or zombies around her, she still didn't dare sleep too deeply and would wake up at the slightest noise. She didn't open her eyes, waiting for Xin Zhao's next move, but after waiting for a long time, she only heard the guy's breathing and nothing else. Tang Niannian rolled her eyes secretly. If the mountain doesn't come to her, she will go to the mountain. She suddenly opened her eyes, and her dark pupils startled Chen Xiao. Before he could react, his neck was hooked down by her, and the girl's sweet breath was in his ears. "Little wolf, you are becoming more and more timid," Tang Niannian said with a smile. Chen Xiao was just like a thief, with the desire but not the courage. There was a in Chen Zhao's mind, and his dark face turned black and red, but he felt uneasy in his heart. If Niannian knew, would she blame him? Tang Niannian smiled even more deeply, raised her body a little, and took the initiative to kiss him. Coward! Shen Zhao's body was completely immersed in the sweet kiss, and Nian Nian's voice was still echoing in his ears, calling him a coward. He now seemed to be cut in two. One half was floating in the air, and the remaining half was kissing Nian Nian, as if he was riding on the clouds. So happy, so cheerful, so blessed. However, just 1 minute later, Xin Xiao took over the role. He is not a coward. He wants to prove it to Nian Nian. Xin Xiao, who had learned it by himself, pressed half of his body on Tang Niannian, with one hand on the armrest of the recliner and the other hand supporting Tang Niannian's body, deepening the kiss. They marched straight in, pounded the city, and even lost the border. Both of them had good lung capacity, and the kiss lasted for quite a long time before it ended. The two of them breathed softly, their foreheads pressed together, their eyes looking into each other's eyes, their noses touching. They hugged each other tightly, unwilling to separate. "Nian Nian, I want another kiss." Chen Zhao's voice became even hoarser, and Tang Niannian's ears felt hot. This guy's voice was too sweet, and he looked so seductive. If he stayed outside, he would definitely attract a lot of attention. "My mouth is swollen, don't do it." Tang Niannian wanted to push the man away. If he continued kissing her, she wouldn't be able to face anyone. She took out a small mirror and saw that her mouth was indeed swollen, and her eyes were full of smiles. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell at a glance that she had done something bad. "Is the work done?" Tang Niannian was no longer sleepy. She had to check on someone's work results. There are still 2/3 left to be summarized. "I'll do it tomorrow." Chen Xiao stood up first, then picked her up. She was so soft and fragrant in his arms that he couldn't bear to let go, so he just kept holding her. Tang Niannian followed him, and she really enjoyed the feeling of being doted on by Chen Xiao. Chen Xiao rode the motorcycle, put her in front, and slowly patrolled the space. The space has changed a lot now. It was a bit messy before because of Tang Niannian, but now it is neatly organized and the supplies are placed in different categories. Chickens, ducks, cows, sheep, and pigs all have their own nests and do not interfere with each other. The farmland is also divided into blocks according to varieties, including corn, wheat, rice seedlings, sorghum, soybeans, peanuts, sweet potatoes, etc. 1/3 of the land is black soil, about 10,000 acres. The pond is like a small lake, with ducklings and geese swimming on the surface. Beside the lake is a medicinal field, and the medicinal herbs that Tang Niannian had transplanted before are growing well. The spiritual spring was also surrounded by a fence, and next to it was a wooden house. Chen Xiao rebuilt it and built a small yard and set up a stove. It looked quite presentable now. "Little wolf, you are so awesome." Tang Niannian was full of admiration. If she were to do it, the space would definitely not be so neat and beautiful, and the farmland would definitely be like a dogskin plaster, with patches here and there. Chen Xiao raised the corner of his mouth, resting his chin on her head, and his nose was filled with a fresh and pleasant fragrance. He really wanted to live in the space with Nian Nian and never go out to face those annoying people. But he knew it was unrealistic. He needed to climb to a higher place to protect Nian Nian and the space. The remaining land will be almost planted tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow. I will go to the northeast to carry out a mission and get some wild ginseng seeds. Chen Xiao felt a little regretful. Without Nian Nian, he could not enter the space, and it was not convenient to collect supplies. Tang Niannian also thought of it and felt it was a pity. "It would be great if you could share the space with me." She subconsciously touched her neck and only felt the wolf's fangs. Then she remembered that the jade gourd disappeared after the blood-dripping recognition of the owner. If it was still there, she could let Xin Xiao drip blood to try. Maybe it could recognize the master too. She would hide her thoughts from others, even members of the Tang family. Only with Xin Xiao, she would always be honest and share anything. "It's okay. I'll come to see you when I'm on vacation." Chen Xiao comforted him. He was now on special missions and could take vacations after completing the missions. It took 4 or 5 hours to drive between Hucheng and Zhucheng, so it was very convenient to go back and forth. "Isn't your mission very dangerous?"
Tang Nian Flawen.
The missions that Chen Xiao carried out in previous lives were all very dangerous and life-threatening, but Chen Xiao was very skilled. If it weren't for the sneak attack by that Qi Guohua, he would definitely not have been injured. It is impossible for Qi Guohua to plot against Chen Xiao for no reason. This is very utilitarian and has clear goals. He always puts profit first in everything he does. When he plotted against Chen Xiao, he didn't know the relationship between Chen Xiao and her, so Qi Guohua must have been instructed by someone. It was definitely done by the two families of Shen and Fu. When Chen Xiao was a child, these abandoned him in the mountains. Fortunately, he was adopted by Wolf Father and Wolf Mother and met old man Tang Qingshan. After being taken back to the Shen family, these people were still unwilling to give up and tried every means to get rid of Chen Xiao. The purpose is to obtain the Fu family's treasure. The Fu family has been doing business for hundreds of years and has countless wealth. It is said that every head of the Fu family would hide a batch of treasures, and they were all hidden in the same place, and the key was in the hands of the head of the family. Mr. Fu had passed away, but the key was given to Shen Xiao and his uncle. The Shen and Fu families racked their brains to get the key, but Shen Xiao and his uncle refused to give it up. These people became angry and attacked them. Before Shen Xiao was besieged, his uncle also died in an accident, and the Fu family's treasures never saw the light of day again. "It's not dangerous, don't worry." Chen Xiao comforted softly. He really felt that it was not dangerous. A task that was very difficult for others was very simple for him. During the years he lived with his wolf father and mother as a child, he learned the wild wolf's agility, keen intuition, and superb survival ability in the wild. In the deep mountains that were rife with dangers for others, he was like a fish in water and could move easily and freely even with his eyes closed. "I'm not worried about your skills, but you have to be careful of your own people when you act. The Shen and Fu families may bribe them to plot against you." Tang Niannian reminded that sometimes the greatest danger does not come from the enemy, but from your own people. Chen Xiao nodded. "I know." He knew that the two families wished he was dead, and only his uncle could be trusted. He was very careful in every mission and would not leave his back to outsiders. Moreover, he almost always carries out missions alone and rarely teams up with others, simply because he doesn't trust anyone. Tang Niannian felt even more regretful. If the space allowed Chen Xiao to enter at will, he would have an extra layer of protection. She needs to study carefully how to share space with Shen Xiao. There must be a way. Now all we can do is give Chen Xiao more spiritual spring water to regulate his body. If he gets injured, the spiritual spring water can give him an extra 10% chance of survival. The two of them took a tour around the space and looked at the lush green farmland, feeling particularly good. At night, they went back to the guest house to sleep. If they didn't come back all night, people would gossip about them. For the next 2 days, Chen Xiao basically worked in the space and Tang Niannian joined him. The two of them drove various farm machinery and almost planted the remaining black soil. There were still 1,000 acres left for planting other crops. 3 days passed quickly, and after another night, Chen Xiao would return to the team. He went to the police to inquire about the results of the interrogation of the serial killer, and Wei Zhongqing said that the case had been closed. Tang Niannian also went there. She also wanted to know why the pervert killed so many innocent women and desecrated their corpses in such a cruel and inhumane way. The suspect's surname is He. His name is He Fashing. He is 42 years old. He had polio when he was a child. He is short. His hands and feet are a little deformed. He is not liked by his parents and siblings. He has been hungry since he was a child. When he grew up, he was arranged to work at the sanitation department. He performed very well and was even commended as a model worker. Wei Zhongqing talked about the murder's past. In short, before the age of 35, He Fashing was an honest and decent person. His neighbors and colleagues had a very good impression of him. Until now, relatives, neighbors, and colleagues still think that He Fashing is a poor and honest man. When he was 35 years old, He Fashing was introduced to a young and beautiful widow and married. This woman was 12 years younger than him, with a slim figure, and liked to dress up. Her favorite thing was to wear a red scarf. He Fashing treated the widow very well, took care of her meticulously, did all the housework, and handed over his salary. Even though the widow used his money to splurge on dressing up, he had no complaints. Neighbors and colleagues all advised him not to be so stupid, but he said that marrying him would wrong his wife, and he would be doubly good to her. Wei Zhongqing sighed and said with emotion, "It is said that there must be something hateful about a pitiful person. In my opinion, there must be something pitiful about a hateful person. He Fashing is really unlucky to marry such a woman. This widow used his salary to support A and cheated on him?" Tang Niannian said coldly. "The case is very clear. He Fashing used to be an honest man who had a good impression on everyone, but now he is a cruel and perverted murderer. He has obviously received a great stimulation, which has aroused the perverted factor hidden deep inside him. The women who were killed all wore red scarves, had slim figures, were young and beautiful, and looked very similar to He Fashing's wife. It was obvious that he was cuckolded, which made him so vicious." Wei Zhongqing looked appreciative, nodded, and said, "That's right, the widow treated He Fashing very badly. She was always in a bad mood from morning to night, and she used his money to support A. In the end, she became pregnant, and the child was the S. He Fashing then realized that his wife had betrayed him because he had known that he could not have children. He killed the widow and the?" Tang Niannian asked. "Yes, the widow and were his first victims, but no one knew about it at the time. They all thought that the widow and had eloped. The neighbors still felt sorry for He Fashing. After that, He Fashing became more and more cruel and killed 9 innocent women in succession. They were all wearing red scarves, with slim figures, young and beautiful." Wei Zhongqing was angry. He Fashing was both a victim and a perpetrator. Those 9 victims were so innocent. They were violated during their lifetime, and they were removed after their death. Even he, a veteran criminal policeman, could not bear to watch it. It was too outrageous. Will He Fashing be sentenced to death? He won't say that he is mentally ill, right? Tang Niannian was a little worried. If He Fashing escaped legal punishment, she wouldn't mind enforcing justice. There is no need to waste the Earth's resources on this kind of heinous criminal must be sentenced to death. He was conscious when he committed the crime. Wei Qingzong sneered. This kind of must be shot. How can he be justified to the 9 innocent women who died if he was allowed to live? Tang Niannian felt relieved. It was better now. Unlike in later times, people would be labeled mentally ill at any time. No matter how many people they killed, they could escape legal punishment with just a certificate of mental illness. Mental illness has become a get-out-of-jail-free card for some people. Wei Qingzhong looked at the two of them with interest and asked jokingly, "When are you going to have the wedding?" Looking at how affectionate they were, it was obvious that their relationship was confirmed. This speed was worthy of a night owl. Nian Nian is not old enough. She will only be 18 next year. Chen Xiao said, "If you hold a wedding in Zhucheng, I will definitely go and ask for a glass of wedding wine." Wei Qingzong said with a smile, "It will be held in Zhucheng." Chen Xiao had never thought of returning to Beijing to hold the wedding banquet. During the years he lived in Beijing, there were only intrigues and near-death experiences, and no good memories. Besides, his uncle also worked in Shanghai, so there was no need for him to go back to Beijing. Then, I'm sure to attend the wedding. Wei Qingzhong was also happy for him. The relationship was confirmed in just a few days. He was originally worried that the Xin family in Beijing would look down on Tang Niannian's rural identity, but looking at Xin Zhao's attitude, it was obvious that they didn't care about the Xin family. That's right. Chen Xiao is strong in his own right, and he has made a name for himself in the army without relying on the Xin family. Instead, it is the Xin family that has to rely on Chen Xiao to add glory. No matter when and where, strength is the basis for having the right to speak. Tang Niannian's expression was very calm, and she didn't show any shyness when talking about marriage. Wei Zhongcheng was secretly amazed at this, thinking that this girl was not only brave, but also had an extraordinary strong psychological quality. It would be a pity if such a good girl didn't join the army. Chen Xiao went to the Armed Forces Department to say goodbye to Zhou Jin, as he would be returning to the military region in the evening. Tang Niannian gave him a pot of spiritual spring water and asked him to drink a sip every day. She also gave him a few hundred yuan and food and meat coupons. "You must be alert when carrying out the mission. When I am free, I will go to Shanghai to find you."
Okay.
Chen Xiao hugged the person tightly, reluctant to let go. If possible, he really wanted to put Nian Nian in his pocket and use her anytime and anywhere. Take it out and kiss it. The two of them lingered for a long time before Xin Xiao drove away. The car gradually disappeared into the night and soon could not be seen anymore. Tang Niannian sighed, feeling deeply reluctant.
Woof.
Disappeared. Bai Sui was a little disdainful. Love would only affect the speed of its claws. As a 100-year-old man, he didn't want to talk about love. There is no in this world worthy of him. Tang Niannian took a deep breath and returned to her cold and expressionless expression, except that her mouth was a little swollen, which greatly weakened her aloofness. Bai Sui glanced at her several times, feeling itchy inside, and couldn't help asking, "Woof, what does it feel like to kiss?" The master and the guy would hold and chew on it whenever they had nothing to do. It was more delicious than chewing on bones. It was greedy to see it. "I thought kissing must be very fragrant. Otherwise, why would the master kiss endlessly?" Bai Sui was not interested in love, but he was greedy. He liked all delicious things, so he also wanted to taste the deliciousness of kissing, but he couldn't find a female dog to chew on at the moment. He couldn't eat those female dogs in Tang Village. They actually ate ugh. You'll know how it tastes if you kiss Xiaohua. The Xiaohua that Tang Niannian was talking about was a female dog in the village. She was pretty and fell in love with Bai Sui at first sight. She often took the initiative to run to Bai Sui to smell his. Woof.
No.
Bai Sui refused mercilessly. He didn't want to chew on Xiaohua, who ate. She was so weak in fighting and had bad habits.
He was not blind.
What about Xiaobai? Xiaobai is the second most beautiful female dog in the village. She also has deep feelings for Bai Sui. In order to Bai Sui's love, she often fights with Xiaohua, and the fight is inseparable.
Woof.
Stinky. Bai Sui rolled his eyes fiercely. Xiaobai also eats and is ugly. Not even as good as Xiaohua. Tang Niannian raised the corners of her mouth and said, "What about Xiaohuang?" Xiaohuang is also pretty, but a little thin. She also has deep feelings for Bai Sui. Moreover, Xiaohuang is particularly wretched and often sneak attacks Xiaobai and Xiaohua. Woof. Get lost. Bai Sui was furious. None of the introduced beasts he liked. The male beast that the master found himself was so handsome, but the ones introduced to him were all ugly and inferior dogs. Humph. It has to find a partner by itself. It should open its horizons a little. It can't just be limited to Tang Village. It has to look for it in the mountains. Tang Nianyan laughed so hard that her stomach hurt. She was just teasing Bai Sui on purpose. This guy had very high standards. He looked down on ordinary dogs at the end of the world. Those who took the initiative to throw themselves into his arms were ruthlessly rejected by Bai Sui. Those in Tang Village were indeed not worthy of Bai Sui. It should be said that all were not worthy of Bai Sui. Bai Sui was no ordinary dog now. Its fighting power could not even beat wild wolves.
Tang Nianyan thought about it.
Dogs and wolves had the same ancestor. Why not find a beautiful female wolf for Bai Sui? It was said that there were wild wolves in the deep mountains of Tang Village. Shen Xiao lived with wolves when he was a child, but the wolves did not appear for a long time. Tang Nianyan guessed that they were hiding in the deep mountains. Bai Sui, you are still young now. Don't be in a hurry to find a partner. I will find you the most beautiful and capable partner in the future. Tang Nianyan began to make big promises to appease Bai Sui.
Woof.
Keep your word. Bai Sui's eyes lit up. He liked beautiful and capable female animals. He looked down on weak ones. Tang Nianyan stretched out her hand. Bai Sui stretched out his front paw, and the man and the dog clapped their hands to swear. Qi Guohua was lying on the bed in the provincial hospital. His face was terribly gloomy. Qi's father, Qi's mother, and Yang Hongling were all sitting beside the bed with sad faces. The doctor just came over and told them that Qi Guohua's foot was too seriously dislocated, and the possibility of recovery was extremely small. The best result was a slight limp, and the army would definitely not keep him. Moreover, Qi Guohua's eyesight was not good. Both eyes were below 0.5 degrees, and he could not see the road clearly without glasses. He was highly myopic. With a lame leg and blind eyes, the army would never want him again. The best result was to receive a retirement allowance and return to the countryside to farm. Moreover, the retirement allowance was only enough to pay off debts. In order to treat Qi Guohua's leg, he owed hundreds of foreign debts, and the money owed when he got married, adding up to 400 or 500. After paying off the debts with the retirement allowance, there would not be much left. Yang Hongling was like a bereaved mother. She still dreamed of joining the army, staying away from the bumpkins in Tang Village, and living a life envied by everyone. But now the harsh reality has awakened her beautiful dream. After Qi Guohua retired from the army, he was a countryman and a disabled person. She was a girl from Beijing. How could she marry a disabled countryman? She was also unwilling to farm in Tang Village for the rest of her life. Why is it like this? Qi Guohua had a bright future and was about to be promoted, but now he is disabled. It was all because of that poisonous snake. It's March now, and most snakes are still hibernating. How could they come out and bite people? Guohua, think about it carefully, what happened at that time. The more Yang Hongling thought about it, the more she felt that this was weird. Although there are many snakes on the mountain in Tang Village, the snakes in March are particularly honest. They have been sleeping for a whole winter. Even if they come out to bask in the sun, they are lazy and basically will not actively attack people. Qi Guohua was chopping wood on the hillside at that time. How could a poisonous snake run to the hillside to bite people? Did Tang Nianyan release the snake on purpose? It must be her. She is such a vicious person. She is capable of doing such a thing, and she was the only one on the mountain at that time. There was no one else but her. Yang Hongling successfully convinced herself that the murderer was the Tang Nianyan. Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence that Tang Nianyan was on the mountain when Qi Guohua was bitten by a snake? Qi Guohua's expression changed drastically, and he also thought of the doubts. Tang Nianyan hated him to the bone, and her mind was so vicious that she really did release a snake to bite him, and there was no one else on the mountain except Tang Nianyan. Even if he retired from the army, he would make Tang Nianyan pay the price. I'm going to call the army to appeal. Tang Nianyan maliciously injured an active soldier and caused disability. This crime will make her stay in the cell for at least 10 years. Qi Guohua gritted his teeth, and his dark gray face became distorted, sinister, and terrifying. Since being bitten by the snake, his originally fair face has turned dark gray. The doctor said it was because of the snake venom, and it would automatically fade over time. Tang Niannian is such a vicious. Guohua, call now and have her put in jail. Mother Qi gnashed her teeth in hatred. She could have relied on her son to become a royal lady, but now it was all ruined by Tang Niannian. Tang Niannian didn't know the Qi family's plan. She had already returned to Tang village. She hadn't been back for 4 days. The villagers didn't gossip about her because everyone knew that she was now a special talent at the Red Star factory and received a salary of 98 yuan a month. The rumors in the past also disappeared. A girl who received a salary of 98 yuan went to the city every day to contribute to the country. How glorious and great it was. If anyone said bad things about Tang Niannian, there was no need for old lady Tang to do anything. The people of Tang village would kill the who gossiped. Tang Niannian is now the pride of Tang village. The neighboring villages are so envious and jealous that they wish they could marry Tang Niannian back to their own village. However, they've been searching for a long time in their own village and have not been able to find a young man who can match the salary of 98 yuan, so they had to give up the idea. Second aunt, when will your Nian come back? Soon. I have an urgent task this time. I will go home after I complete it. Old Mrs. Tang looked proud. Her voice was loud. Her back was straight. She was the grandmother of Tang Niannian who earned 98 yuan. All the old ladies in the commune are not as glorious as her. Today, the villagers were planting rice in the field at the entrance of the village. Old Lady Tang and several other women were assigned to a field. They walked barefoot in the field and planted rice neatly. The thin rice seedlings stood neatly in the field. Second aunt Nian is so capable. You don't have to work anymore. It's time to enjoy your life. Someone shouted. What kind of life can I enjoy? I am destined to be a hard worker. I feel uncomfortable if I don't work for a day. Old Lady Tang said this, but her face was full of smiles. She was very pleased with the flattery of the villagers. Her little purse has been filled up a lot in recent days, all earned by her granddaughter. The granddaughter also said that she would honor her with her salary in the future. It's a pity that the old man was not blessed and could not wait for this day. Thinking of her husband who passed away early, the smile on Old Lady Tang's face faded a little and she sighed softly. Qingming Festival is coming soon. She has to make some Qingming dumplings and a few dishes that the old man likes. She will go to see the old man and tell him that Nian girl has made a good career now. He should rest assured in the underworld and reincarnate into a good family as soon as possible to live a good life. Others flattered Old Lady Tang to the utmost. Their sweet words were free of charge. Old Lady Tang was flattered, but she didn't give in easily. She even wanted her granddaughter to introduce her to a job. It was a nice thought. A job is not grass on the roadside that can be picked easily. Nian didn't know how much effort she had spent. She couldn't hold her granddaughter back. Although others were a little disappointed, they were not discouraged. They still flattered Old Lady Tang. Anyway, they just had to hold on to Tang Nian's thighs. Maybe they could really get lucky and get a job. Second aunt, in the whole commune, there is no girl more outstanding than Nian. She is beautiful and capable. I can't find a single bad thing about her. If you ask me, let alone the whole commune, even in Shanghai, our Nian is one of the best. I've been to Shanghai to visit relatives before, and the girls on the street are not as pretty as Nian. Everyone's flattery became more and more exaggerated. Gradually, they walked out of Tang village and rushed to Shanghai city, praising Tang Nian as a fairy who existed in heaven and on earth. Old Mrs. Tang couldn't close her mouth with laughter. She also felt that her granddaughter was so good. If it weren't for the turbulent times, Nian would have been the daughter of Shanghai. A dragon gives birth to a dragon, a phoenix gives birth to a phoenix, but a mouse can't give birth to a phoenix. Although Nian's parents had never been seen, she had heard from the old man that they were a talented man and a beautiful woman, like a golden boy and a jade girl. With such parents, Nian must be beautiful. It's a pity that the Tang family is too poor to give this girl a very good life, Otherwise, Nian Nian would definitely be more beautiful than she's sure. Lu Jinglan, who was planting rice in the field next to her, looked more and more ugly. She gritted her teeth tightly, her mouth was full of blood, and her eyes were full of hatred. She couldn't understand why it turned out like this. How could Tang Nian, a rural girl, suddenly become a special talent of the Red Star factory and get 98 yuan? The high salary she received had never happened in her previous life. In her previous life, before the resumption of the college entrance examination, Tang Nian had always been a rural girl and had never worked in a factory. The personality of Tang Nian in this life was completely different from that of Tang Nian in the previous life. And Qi Guohua had not been bitten by a snake in the previous life. Lu Jinglan's heart sank instantly, and she thought of a possibility. Could it be that Tang Nian was also reborn? If she could come back, others could come back too. Otherwise, there was no way to explain the abnormality of Tang Nian in this life. Lu Jinglan's heart was beating very fast, and she tried her best to comfort herself. It must not be the case. If Tang Nian was really reborn, she would know that Mr. Zhang in the cowshed was an internationally renowned scientist, and it was impossible for her to ignore him. She had been paying attention to the cowshed, and Tang Nian had never gone to find Mr. Zhang, so she was definitely not reborn. Lu Jinglan felt more at ease. Perhaps it was just because of her rebirth that some things changed. She couldn't scare herself. Haven't the Qi family believed it yet? It's been so many days. Someone suddenly mentioned Qi Guohua. Only Qi Guochun is left in the Qi family now, but Qi Guochun never leaves the house, not even to work. She just says she is not feeling well. The team leader doesn't care about her. If she doesn't work, she won't get any work points. If there is not enough food at the end of the year, she will have to find a way out herself. She said she went to the provincial hospital. She should be fine. She just broke her leg. The snake wasn't too poisonous. In my opinion, even God can't stand it. When has a snake in March ever bit anyone? Why did it bite Qi Guohua? Humph. The woman who said this was the one who didn't get along with Qi's mother. She wished the Qi family bad luck, and that Qi Guohua's leg would never be reattached. In the past, her family was better off than the Qi family, and Qi's mother didn't dare to speak loudly in front of her, and she couldn't straighten her back. Ever since Qi Guohua went to the army, Qi's mother showed off in front of her and ran to show off in front of her every day. She had been holding her anger for 2 years. Finally, God opened his eyes and let Qi Guohua get retribution. Everyone else smiled awkwardly and didn't say anything. After all, they didn't know what Qi Guohua's current situation was. What if his leg was okay, and he returned to the army, he would be promoted? They dared not offend him. Even if God opened his eyes, good will be rewarded with good, evil will be punished with evil, and good and evil will be rewarded in the end. Old Mrs. Tang was not afraid of the Qi family, and she yelled at them. She also wished that Qi Guohua's legs would be crippled, and he would never be able to stand up again. The villagers had different expressions, and the air was quiet for a long time. No one wanted to get involved in the feud between the Qi and Tang families. They couldn't afford to offend either of them. Second aunt, is that Nian on the bridge? Someone broke the eerie silence and pointed at the stone bridge at the entrance of the village and asked loudly. Everyone looked up and looked at the stone bridge. Sure enough, it was Tang Nian who came back on a bike. Miss Nian is getting more and more beautiful, someone said. Everyone nodded. She was indeed much prettier. Tang Nian was pretty, but her skin was a little dark. Rural girls had to work, and few of them were particularly fair. But now Tang Nian's skin was whiter than a peeled egg, and her face was more delicate and beautiful. With such an appearance, she was really one in a million. Tang Nian pushed the old bike of the team leader's family with one hand and rode a new bike herself, getting closer and closer to the villagers. Did Nian ride 2 bikes? Someone cried out in surprise, and everyone stopped planting the seedlings and ran to the fields to see. Nian, did you buy a new car? Yes. Tang Nian stopped, and the 2 cars were parked as well, allowing the villagers to look at the new car. Buying a bicycle in the 1970s was as grand as buying a Mercedes-Benz or BMW in later generations. This car is so beautiful, Nyanyan. How much is it? The villagers caressed the new car lovingly, more gently than they would caressing their own wives, with eyes full of obsession and envy. 186 yuan, and you need a bicycle ticket. Tang Nyanyan went to the department store to inquire, and this was the price for the same model of women's car. The villagers gasped and withdrew their hands from touching the car. Their hands were rough, and if they scratched the car, they couldn't afford the compensation. Nyanyan has made a lot of money. The villagers were envious. They could buy such an expensive car just like that. The Tang family would be the first in the village to have one. Tang Nyanyan pulled the corner of her mouth slightly and said, "You can also afford a car in the future. After the sock factory is established, each of these villagers will have a bicycle. It is a must. Those who don't get along with the Tang family will get nothing." The villagers thought Tang Nyanyan was bragging. They would never be able to afford a car in their lifetime. They worked hard in the fields all year round and could not save much money. They could not afford it even if they did not eat or drink. Tang Nyanyan did not say much. When the sock factory was established, everyone would know. "Nyanyan, is your factory still recruiting workers? It doesn't matter if it's a little dirty or hard work. A salary of more than 10 yuan is enough," someone asked. Everyone looked at Tang Nyanyan eagerly. They were not afraid of hardship or dirt. A salary of more than 10 yuan was better than farming in the countryside. What's the use of more than 10 yuan? We will earn dozens of yuan in the future. Tang Nyanyan was making big promises again. She felt that the people in the village were too narrow-minded. They were satisfied with just a dozen yuan. They were really hopeless. With her around, they would earn at least 50 yuan a month in the future. The villagers all laughed and thought Tang Nyanyan was bragging again. "Nyan girl, you are almost the same as the factory director. Give each of us a salary of several dozen yuan." Someone joked. "Wait, there will be bread." Tang Nyanyan said a line from a movie. She remembered it was from The Horse Wrangler, which seems to have not been released yet. But the villagers did not believe it. They just thought she was joking. They had enjoyed the new car enough and went to work. They didn't know where the dozens of yuan salary was floating around. If they didn't work now, they would starve. When everyone left, Mrs. Tang glared fiercely, patted Tang Nyanyan lightly, and cursed in a low voice. "You keep a door in your mouth, talking nonsense all day long, and you still want to pay them dozens of yuan?" "Yes." Tang Nyanyan agreed casually. She ran a sock factory, so she must pay them. Mrs. Tang was so angry that she patted her again and cursed. "Can't you be more careful? What can you use to pay them? How many people can you pay with your 98 yuan salary? Don't say these things in the future. Girls hate to be accused of not keeping their mouths shut, and they can't even find a husband."
Oh, Tanianian Zetponde Obedini.
Her attitude towards old lady Tang softened a lot, and she became closer. In previous lives, she suffered in Yang Baogan's house, and old lady Tang came to support her many times. Although it was useless, she was grateful to the old lady. Old lady Tang's health collapsed suddenly because of the successive accidents in her family. Later, after learning that her youngest son was in trouble, she could not survive and died with hatred. Tang Montong's incident happened in the second half of the year. He was arrested for speculation. In the past, he would have been released after a few days of labor reform, but this time Tang Mantong was locked up in a farm in Shanghai. A few days later, the farm called and said that Tang Mantong had died in a fight with someone. The Tang family didn't even see the body, but only received a jar of ashes. As for the truth of the fight, there is no way to know. It is only known that among the people who fought, only Tang Mantong died, and the others are alive and well. Tang Nyanyan suspected that Qi Guohua and Lu Jinglan were most likely responsible. The destruction of the Tang family is inseparable from these two. Tang Nyanyan looked at Lu Jinglan in the field. Her cold eyes made Lu Jinglan tremble. She looked up, but couldn't find the source of her gaze. She only saw the beautiful Tang Nyanyan pushing the new car away from her. Lu Jinglan gritted her teeth. She hadn't lost yet. As long as she got the jade gourd, saved Zhang Lao, and snatched Joe's siren away, she would definitely win. "Grandma, I'll give you something good." After returning home, Tang Nian took out a solid gold bracelet from her pocket and handed it to Old Lady Tang. Old Lady Tang was stunned for a moment. Then she flew to the door and window like lightning, snapped them all shut, and then she felt relieved to appreciate the gold bracelet. The old lady opened her mouth and bit the bracelet hard. Seeing a shallow tooth mark, she immediately smiled with her teeth showing. "Where did you get it?" Old Lady Tang asked in a low voice. "Nowadays, these things can't be put in the open, or people will see them and eat the first place. I exchanged 2 rabbits at the black market."
Keep them.
Tang Nian answered half-truthfully. Old Lady Tang believed her. Although she felt sorry for the rabbits, she was overjoyed when she saw the big golden bracelet in her hand. She had only seen such thick gold bracelets on the wrists of the wife of the Xian family next door before. At that time, she thought that if she could wear a gold bracelet in this life, she would die with peace of mind. Unexpectedly, her granddaughter really got one for her. Old Lady Tang's eyes were a little sore. She turned her back and gently wiped the corners of her eyes. Tang Nian pretended not to see it and said, "There will be more in the future." Since the old lady liked gold bracelets, she had to arrange for them. Both arms had to be full. "Don't go to the black market. It's not good if you get caught." Old Lady Tang glared. Her youngest son had been caught before and sent to labor reform for half a month. Their family was laughed at in the village for a long time. If Nian was also caught, it would be even more difficult to find a husband in the future. Women are always treated more strictly these days. Even if Mantong has been sent to labor reform, his reputation is not bad. As long as he can afford the bride price, he can still marry a wife. If Nian girl's reputation is bad, it will be difficult for her to marry a good young man. "Well, I won't go." Tang Nian agreed very well. Anyway, she still has a lot of money in her space. She will take it out to make the old lady happy in a while. "You keep watch for me, I will hide it. Don't let Wu Jin and your mother know." Old Lady Tang is always on guard against Su Jinfeng. She hides the money and bills at home very well and changes the place from time to time. Especially since Tang Wujin has a criminal record, the old lady doesn't trust the mother and daughter. Tang Nian stood at the door obediently to keep watch. Seeing the old lady crawling under the bed like a thief, knocking here and there, she wanted to laugh. "Hey, I clearly remember it's here." "Yes, it's here," the old lady said to herself. She was looking for a hole in the wall. This hole was newly discovered by her. All the money in the family was hidden in it. She pulled out the bricks and took out a cloth bag, which was wrapped in 3 layers inside and 3 layers outside. Inside was all the property of the Tang family. Old Lady Tang put the gold bracelet in, wrapped it carefully, stuffed it into the hole, put the bricks in place, and pressed it a few times before climbing out. "You didn't see it?" Old Lady Tang asked cautiously, afraid that Tang Nian would peek. "No, I was always with my back to her." Tang Nian couldn't help laughing and shook her head. Although she was always with her back to her, she took a mirror and saw it clearly. Seeing that the old lady still didn't believe it, she simply said bluntly, "Grandma, I earn 98 yuan." Old Lady Tang was immediately relieved. That's right, her granddaughter's monthly salary was 98 yuan, and she looked down on her little money. "I'm going to work. You stay at home to look after your eldest sister." Old Lady Tang left in a hurry. She had to earn back the 8 jobs today. Even if she had the gold bracelet, she couldn't stop working. "Grandma, you should marry off your eldest sister as soon as possible. Leaving her at home is a nuisance." Tang Nian's voice was a little cold. In her previous life, Tang Wujin successfully married He Guoqing and became a loyal lackey of Lu Jinglan and Shi Guohua, helping to deal with the Tang family. Such a ruthless person, she might as well fulfill her love. After marrying He Guoqing, she would be so happy. Matchmaker Ma is looking for someone. Old Mrs. Tang also thought so, but it was not easy to find a young man. He had to have a bad temper and good character, and he had to be hardworking and willing to work. There were not many such young men, so Matchmaker Ma had to pick them slowly. Generally, Men with bad tempers have bad character and will beat their wives. Although old Mrs. Tang did not like her eldest granddaughter, she did not want to push her into the fire pit, so she wanted to find a reliable man. The old lady hurried to work, and Tang Nianyan did not stay at home. She was too lazy to look at Tang Wujin. If this wanted to run, she would run, and she would never stop him. The Tang family took into account their friendship and wanted to find a reliable man for Tang Wujin, but this was an ungrateful man, ruthless and ungrateful to the Tang family. Tang Nianyan rolled her eyes and had a solution. She walked quietly to the back window and listened carefully. Tang Wujin was sleeping, so she loosened the nails that sealed the window. As long as Tang Wujin pushed hard, he could push the window open and escape. The Tang family was reluctant, so she acted as the villain and created an opportunity for Tang Wujin. Tang Nianyan clapped her hands lightly, carried a backpack, took a hatchet, and went up the mountain. There were more than 10 children playing at the foot of the mountain, and Jujin was there too. Second sister, when did you come back? I missed you so much when you were not at home. The little girl flew over, hugged Tang Nianyan tightly, and said with her little mouth that she missed him. Do you miss me or candy? Tang Nianyan gently pinched the little girl's chubby face. Jujin had grown a lot of flesh on his face because he had eaten a lot of meat these days. It felt very good to pinch it. She pinched it several times, and the little girl's face was pinched with red marks. I miss my second sister. I like my second sister the most. The little girl hugged Tang Nianyan's arm like a flatterer and acted coquettishly. In the past few days when my second sister was not at home, Grandma didn't put meat in her cooking. She wanted to eat meat so much. Tang Nianyan took out milk candy from her pocket, peeled off the candy wrapper, stuffed it into the little girl's mouth, and stuffed a lot of it. Share it with your friends.
Hey.
Jujin agreed happily. The other children, like stars surrounding the moon, surrounded Jujin in the middle. Everyone has a share. You all have to listen to me in the future, understand? Jujin said loudly. I know, we all listened to Jujin. The children agreed in unison. Jujin often shared delicious food with them, so they would definitely listen to Jujin. In the future, if anyone in the village speaks ill of Jujin's second sister, they will report to Jujin and focus on the educated youth site and cheese family. Tang Nianyan had already walked far away. When she heard the voices of these children, she couldn't help but smile. She went to the cowshed first. The two old people were herding cattle. They looked much better and had some flesh on their faces. Tang Nianyan was very satisfied. She shouldn't have a fever next month. Pa Tang Nianyan looked around and saw no one. She threw a bundle of newspapers, which happened to be thrown in front of Mr. Zhang. The newspapers were taken from Director Wu. She said she wanted to get some old newspapers home to start a fire. Director Wu asked the secretary to find a mountain of newspapers and asked her to take them all back. Tang Nianyan picked out some recent newspapers and threw them to Mr. Zhang. Deng Chongsheng reacted quickly and put away the newspapers quickly. He didn't see Tang Nianyan, but he knew that it must have been sent by this girl. I'll hide it, Deng Chongsheng whispered, and Mr. Zhang nodded with a very excited look in his eyes. With newspapers to read these days, his life was particularly fulfilling. As long as he had spiritual food to supplement, he could survive even if he had to herd cattle on the mountain for a lifetime. Zhang Lao, who had never believed in God, clasped his hands together and murmured, Thank you, Bodhisattva. You must bless me to have the day to repay Nian Yada's kindness. He didn't believe in Bodhisattva before, but now he does. It must be that Bodhisattva saw that he and Lao Deng were too miserable, so he sent Nian Yatu. He only hoped that he would have the opportunity to repay Nian Yatu in his lifetime. Tang Nianyan went to the mountain to pick some Ganoderma lucidum and medicinal herbs and also got some hares and pheasants, and then went down the mountain with a pheasant and a hare. During the days when she was away from home, the family must not have eaten meat, otherwise Jujin would not be so greedy. When work was over, the tempting smell of meat wafted out of the Tang family again. The villagers had become accustomed to it, and they all swallowed their saliva, quickened their pace, and quickly left the Tang family. Second sister, I love you the most. Eugene came back holding a bundle of firewood and carrying a basket of pig grass. When she smelled the aroma of meat, her face was full of smiles, because she knew that she would be able to eat meat as soon as her second sister came back. Old Mrs. Tang didn't say anything more. She earned 9 jobs today, and her waist and legs didn't hurt. As long as she thought of the gold bracelet, she could earn another 9 jobs. Tang Wujin woke up in the room. Listening to the laughter outside, her face became more and more gloomy. These days, she ate porridge with pickles. Other people in the family ate meat, but she could only eat porridge with pickles, which made her eyes blurry. Originally, she thought she could eat meat today, but what old Mrs. Tang brought over was still porridge with pickles. "Mom, give Wu Jin some meat too," Su Jinfeng asked in a low voice. She will be embarrassed by eating meat? She had such a good life before that she had the wrong thoughts. She can only drink porridge from now on. Mrs. Tang cursed her granddaughter, that fool. She didn't deserve to eat meat. It's enough to keep her alive with porridge and pickles. After she gets married, she will let her grandson-in-law take care of it. She doesn't care. Su Jinfeng didn't dare to say anything and ate meat obediently. Although her eldest daughter didn't eat meat, Su Jinfeng didn't think her mother-in-law treated her badly. During the famine, a family that could have a bowl of porridge and pickles was considered a wealthy family. She was pregnant with her second daughter at that time and was so hungry that she went to the mountains to peel tree bark and ate everything she could, but she still couldn't keep her second daughter alive. Su Jinfeng sighed and glanced at Tang Yinyan. If the second daughter was alive, she would be this big now. After Tang Wujin finished the porridge that was so thin that it could reflect her shadow, her stomach was sour. The smell of meat outside kept drilling into her nose, which made her sour even more and made her hate Tang Yinyan even more. It must be this who instigated the discord. Grandma had never been so mean to her before, but now that Tang Yinyan has become a formal employee, Grandma is blinded by money and treats this as a treasure. She listens to her instigation and abuses her own granddaughter. Why can't God open his eyes and strike this to death? Tang Wujin gnashed her teeth in hatred, but she was also worried about He Guoqing on the farm. She had never done physical work before, and she would definitely not be able to bear it if she went to the farm. It would be great if she could go with him so that she could help Guoqing share some of the burden. Unfortunately, the doors and windows were sealed shut, and she couldn't escape. Tang Wujin walked to the window and pushed it hard a few times to vent her anger. She had pushed it during the day, but the window didn't move at all. The window made a slight click sound and moved a few times. Tang Wujin was overjoyed, thinking it must not be nailed shut, and she had a chance to escape. Tang Wujin did not push the window again, and went back to bed to sleep. She wanted to conserve her energy and wait until everyone in the family fell asleep before escaping to find Guoqing. No one could stop her from marrying Guoqing. She did not want to marry a rural man. It was late at night, and the lights in Tang village were all off. From time to time, there were a few barking dogs and faint snoring. Almost everyone was asleep, except for Tang Wujin. She got up and walked to the window and pushed it. After half an hour, she finally pushed the window open. The cool air blew in.
Tang Wujin berdit greedily.
She was finally free. Tang Wujin put on thick clothes and took all the valuables with her, which were actually only 5 or 6 yuan, which she usually saved. After climbing out of the window, Tang Wujin's legs were a little weak. She calmed down and prepared to go to the farm to find her lover, but she took a few steps and turned back. She climbed in from the courtyard wall and climbed in from the kitchen window. A salted pork leg was hanging on the stove, and there were more than 50 eggs in the basket. Some were collected by Old Lady Tang, and some were thank-you gifts from the captain's wife last time. Tang Wujin sneered and put all the salted pork legs and eggs into the backpack. Guoqing would definitely not be able to eat meat on the farm, and he had suffered so much, so he had to make up for it. These meat and eggs were his apology to Guoqing. She didn't hesitate at all, and if the backpack was not too small, she would have taken away all the rice in the rice jar. Tang Wujin only brought about 10 pounds of rice, and the backpack could not hold it. She carried the heavy backpack and left the Tang family without hesitation, heading towards the farm. After Tang Wujin walked away, Tang Nian came out of the room. She saw everything this ungrateful person had done. The pork legs and eggs were gone, and the rice was also half gone. When she woke up tomorrow, Old Lady Tang would definitely be heartbroken and would be even more disgusted with Tang Wujin. Tang Nian simply went all out. She put all the rice in the rice jar into the space, emptied the oil in the oil pot and the salt in the salt pot, then clapped her hands and went back to her room to sleep. She slept until dawn and was awakened by the scolding of Mrs. Tang. What accursed! You should have strangled her when she was born to prevent her from harming the family. Look at what you gave birth to. Even the ungrateful wolves have more conscience than her. She doesn't leave any chance for the family to survive. The Japanese devils are not as cruel as her. Oh, I'm so angry. Mrs. Tang got up early in the morning and prepared to go to the kitchen to make breakfast. As a result, she saw the kitchen was looted. There was no rice, no eggs left, and no precious salted pork legs. The old lady's eyes went dark and she almost fainted. Her first reaction was that the house was robbed, but then she remembered that there was a dog at home. If a thief came, the dog would definitely bark. It was obviously a thief. Mrs. Tang ran to Tang Wujin's room and saw the open window. Her heart sank to the bottom. Su Jinfeng and Tang Manjin couldn't believe the facts before their eyes. They didn't want to believe that their daughter would be such an ungrateful person who would rob the family's food and meat. Even animals wouldn't do such a cruel and inhumane thing. Mom, Wu Jin wouldn't do such a thing. It must have been done by someone else. Wu Jin might have been in trouble. Su Jinfeng's face turned pale, and she murmured to herself, becoming more and more flustered. She was worried that the thief would come to the house, be tempted by her beauty, and rob her eldest daughter. Old Mrs. Tang's dark face was full of sarcasm, and she cursed tartly. Where did this ungrateful person get her beauty? The thief's eyes are not blind. He didn't rob the beautiful girl at home, but robbed an ugly girl? Do you think the thief is as stupid as you? Tang Nian, who was listening to the lively scene in the room. Just quarrel. Why use her as an example? Besides, even if the thief wanted to rob, could he beat her? Su Jinfeng looked very unhappy. Although her mother-in-law's words were unpleasant to hear, they made sense. A thief would never give up flowers to steal dogtail grass. What on earth was Wu Jin thinking? Where did Wu Jin take all these things? This dead girl didn't even say a word.
Ouch.
My heart hurts. Su Jinfeng pressed her chest, her face pale. She suffered a lot when giving birth to her second child. It took 2 days and 2 nights, but she gave birth to a dead baby. When she saw her thin and purple second daughter, she fainted. When she woke up, she had a heartache problem and would get sick when she was anxious. The second daughter was taken to the mountain by her father-in-law to be buried. The next day, her father-in-law brought back the white and chubby Nian girl. The small quilt and clothes were made of silk that she had never seen before, soft and beautiful. The little girl was also as beautiful as the jade girl in the New Year pictures. Her father-in-law told her that Nian girl was the second child in the family and did not allow her to tell anyone. Nian had never her milk. Her parents-in-law raised her with high-grade milk powder, saying that it was bought by Nian's biological parents. Although she was the mother, she had never raised the child. Nian had lived with her parents-in-law since she was a child, and her parents-in-law also paid for her food and drink. Thinking of the past, Su Jinfeng regretted it now. She shouldn't have complained to her 3 daughters since they were young, saying that her parents-in-law were unfair. Lu Jin was smart. After being taught a lesson by her father-in-law, she understood and stopped opposing Nian. Jiu Jin was heartless. He had been attached to Nian since he was a child, but he was not close to his eldest sister Wu Jin. Only Wu Jin, this idiot, was stubborn. He had been at odds with Nian since he was a child. He always wanted to be superior to Nian, but he had no self-awareness, and now he had made a heinous mistake. Su Jinfeng was full of regrets, and her heart ached so much that she couldn't breathe. She was angry at her eldest daughter's stupidity, and she was even more worried about her eldest daughter's future. If this matter got out, which young man would dare to marry Wu Jin? Don't get yourself hurt by anger. Take medicine. Tang Manjin found the medicine and fed it to his wife. After taking the medicine, Su Jinfeng's face looked much better. She leaned against the chair and cried weakly, "Manjin, we have to find Wu Jin back. We can't let others know. Go after her now." "Where to go? I don't know where this girl has gone." Tang Manjin's face was as gloomy as water. His eldest daughter must have run away in the middle of the night. It's been a whole night. How can he catch up with her? Su Jinfeng was at a loss. She didn't know where her eldest daughter had gone. What should I do? I'm so anxious. What should I do? Su Jinfeng was so anxious that she was incoherent. The couple were not smart people. They could only worry and couldn't come up with any ideas. Where else can this ungrateful person go if he only cares about Xiao Yanjing? Go to the farm and get her back. Old Mrs. Tang had calmed down. Her brain was much better than her son and daughter-in-law. She thought about Tang Wujin's destination and became even more angry. She stole the food and meat and eggs from the house and delivered them to the door. No other daughter in the family is as cheap as this fool. Zhang Manua has been smart all her life, but how could she raise such a foolish and ungrateful person? Old Lady Tang's surname was Zhang, and her maiden name was Manua because she was born when she was 1 month old, but almost no one in the village knew her name. They either called her second aunt or second grandma. Su Jinfeng's face changed drastically, and she was extremely anxious. I'm going to the farm now. I can't let her go with little glasses. This fool's brain is really being eaten by maggots. Oh, I'm so angry. Su Jinfeng staggered outside. It was still early, and she had to get her stupid daughter back quickly. If she dragged it on, her eldest daughter's reputation would be ruined. It's not too late. Have breakfast first. Old Lady Tang cursed with disdain. Eating is the most important thing in the world. It's 15 or 16 miles from Tang village to the farm. It's too bad to travel on an empty stomach. It's a pity to hurt her body for Tang Wujin, that ungrateful person. Grandma, there's no rice, no meat, and no eggs. Tang Jujin's mouth was so pouty that it could hold a soy sauce bottle. She had just searched the rice jar for a long time and didn't find a single grain of rice. Her elder sister was greedier than a mouse, so vicious. And the pork leg, it was so big, but she hadn't eaten much these days. Now it all went to little glasses and stupid elder sister. Jujin's heart was almost broken, and she hated Tang Wujin even more. From now on, she and her elder sister would be irreconcilable. And little glasses. Old Mrs. Tang felt so much pain in her heart. She felt more distressed than anyone else. There was so much meat and eggs. If she had known earlier, she would rather have eaten them into her own family's stomach. Mrs. Tang opened the rice warehouse, which still contained dozens of kilograms of rice, a dozen duck eggs, and a small pot of oil. In the morning, she cooked sweet potato porridge, fried leeks, duck eggs, and green vegetables, as well as the luncheon meat that Tang Nian had taken out. Old Mrs. Tang, who was frugal by nature, cut half of the luncheon meat and only took 2 duck eggs. You can't bear to give this one up, you can't bear to give that one up, and in the end, all of them are cheap, little glasses. Tang Nian stabbed coldly at the side, and old Mrs. Tang's expression was visibly darkened, and her lips trembled with anger. The old lady gritted her teeth, glared at Tang Nian fiercely, and ran to get 3 more eggs. She also cut the remaining half of the luncheon meat, fried leeks with duck eggs, fried green vegetables, and fried luncheon meat with garlic sprouts. It was a big plate full of food, and there were few side dishes and many main dishes. The breakfast of the Tang family had never been so luxurious. Eat. Old Mrs. Tang served several bowls of sweet potato porridge, each with a piece of rice cake. In the past, only Tang Nian and Tang Manjin were qualified to eat rice cake, and everyone else had porridge. Tang Jujin swallowed hard, picked up a large piece of egg, and took another bite. A big mouthful of rice cake, and then a big mouthful of porridge after eating it. My God, it's so delicious. There are still benefits to the stupid elder sister stealing things. Grandma has become generous. The little girl was very satisfied with the meal, but the old Lady Tang was very bitter and resentful. She bit the rice cake like biting the enemy as flesh, and her expression was more murderous than going to the battlefield to kill the enemy. Su Jinfeng, who was sitting opposite her, ate with fear, and even the delicious rice cake couldn't taste good. The calmer the mother-in-law is now, the more dangerous the eldest daughter will be after going to the farm. What should I do? The luxurious breakfast was quickly eaten, and the rice and dishes were eaten cleanly. Old Lady Tang asked her eldest son to call the team leader to come and discuss things. Tang Wujin did such an ugly thing. She had to tell the team leader, and she had to let the team leader lead her to the farm. The team leader came over quickly and heard what Tang Manjin said on the way and hurried over. Seeing the looted kitchen, his depressed mood these days was suddenly greatly comforted. Compared to the idiot Tang Wujin, his daughter is still a little bit better. At least she didn't steal things from home and send them to Xian's house. Don't rush to the farm. I'll make a phone call to ask about the situation. The captain comforted Mrs. Tang and went to the village committee to make a phone call. 10 minutes later, the captain came back with a dark face and said in a deep voice, Wujin is already on the farm, claiming to be He Guoqing's fiancé. He Guoqing has no attitude, neither admitting nor denying. The idiot, no one wants her even if she's sent to the door for free. Now she's going to the farm. I'll beat her to death. Mrs. Tang was furious. The Xiao Yanjing didn't like Wujin at all, but she didn't refuse. Anyway, men don't suffer losses. It's the idiot Wujin who took the initiative to send himself to the door, and it's also Wujin who has a bad reputation. Xiao Yanjing ate meat and eggs and took advantage of him without any responsibility. This Xiao Yanjing is more vicious than a cobra, but it's just that the idiot in her family wants to send herself to the door, and the lock can't lock her. I'm so angry.
Oh.
Bring me some cooling oil. If I had known it was such a stupid thing, it should have been put in the toilet when it was born. It's a waste of my 19 years of food.
Oh.
Old Mrs. Tang was so angry that her face turned pale. She pressed her chest hard and couldn't breathe. Tang Nian found the cooling oil, dug out a large piece, and applied it on the old lady's nose and temple.
Oh.
What are you applying so much, you little girl? Cooling oil is free. Old Mrs. Tang felt better, but when she saw the large piece of cooling oil that had been dug out, she was a little breathless again. The eldest granddaughter is stupid. The second granddaughter is a spendthrift. Oh. Everyone in the family is here to collect debts. A big pig leg can buy hundreds of boxes of cooling oil. Tang Nian said angrily. What's the use of calculating carefully every day? If there is a Tang Wujin who is so crooked, he can't even keep a mountain of gold and silver. Old Mrs. Tang choked heavily and was speechless. Moreover, thinking of such a big pig leg, her heart hurt more than a knife, and she hated Tang Wujin even more. This time, Tang Wujin was caught and quickly found a man to marry. A man would be fine, so that she wouldn't stay and cause trouble to the family. The team leader went to arrange the work for the villagers today, and then changed into a 70% to 80% new Zhongshan suit, which was his outfit when he went out, and he wore this when he went to the commune meetings. In the pocket of the Zhongshan suit, there was also half a pack of Hong Shuangxi cigarettes, which was also his outfit when he went out. Tang Nian took the half pack of cigarettes from his pocket, went to her room, took out cigarettes from the space, and filled it up. Her Hong Shuangxi cigarette packaging box could not be taken out, unlike the current one. Third uncle, here. Tang Nian stuffed the cigarettes into the team leader's pocket. The team leader was not polite and led the Tang family to the farm. Tang Jujin didn't go, and the old lady Tang asked her to stay to look after the house. She originally asked Tang Nian to stay as well. After all, it was more than 30 miles to go back and forth, and the old lady was worried that she couldn't walk. But Tang Nian insisted on going. She deliberately created an opportunity for Tang Wujin. She must watch this idiot jump into the deep pit step by step, and then she would light a big fire to make this idiot never stand up. Although Mrs. Tang had the shortest legs, she walked the fastest and walked in front in a hurry. 15 or 16 miles was nothing for her. In the past, she had to rely on her 2 legs to go to the county town, and it was 60 kilometers back and forth. After walking for more than an hour, They finally arrived at the dusty construction site. The farm has been repairing the reservoir in the past 2 years. The deep pit was full of people working. Everyone was dusty, and their faces could not be seen clearly. Su Jinfeng quickly found her eldest daughter in the crowd. Tang Wujin was like a man, carrying a full load of soil and walking fast. Men were carrying soil, and women were working on the soil. The division of labor on the farm was very clear. Only Tang Wujin was carrying soil, and the other women were working on the soil. Tang Niannian looked around the crowd and did not see He Guoqing. The corners of her lips curled up coldly. Tang Wujin did not disappoint her. Su Jinfeng rushed directly in front of Tang Wujin and slapped her hard. Tang Wujin was stunned, and the burden on his shoulders fell to the ground. The soil scattered all over the ground, and the sky was full of yellow soil. You don't want to live a good life at home, but you have to come here to suffer. Is your mind full of, "If I had known you were so cheap, I should have put you in the toilet"? Su Jinfeng slapped him a few more times, and tears fell from her eyes. Although the parents-in-law asked Wujin to work every day, they had never done such heavy physical work. This idiot came to the door to carry earthwork by himself.
It was too cheap. Mom, don't worry about me.
Tang Wujin said angrily, picked up the shoulder pole, and went back to load the earthwork again. Although it was a bit bitter, as long as he could be with Guoqing, no matter how bitter it would be sweet. In the past, Guoqing ignored her and was never in a good mood, but now he has changed a lot. He smiles at her, speaks to her more gently, and even cares about whether she has been beaten at home. Tang Wujin has never been so happy. As long as Guoqing cares about her, she is willing to work like a for her every day. You are my child. Why can't I take care of you? Come home with me. Su Jinfeng rushed over and dragged Tang Wujin away. But Tang Wujin's heels were like nails. He didn't move at all and said, I won't go back, Mom. Just pretend you never gave birth to me. I'm a member of the He family from now on. After this busy period, she and Guoqing will go to the commune to get the marriage certificate, and she will no longer be a member of the Tang family. The Tang family can't control her anymore. If I didn't give birth to you, did you jump out of the cracks of a stone? If I didn't raise you, did you grow up starving? You black-hearted dog. You stole the meat and food from home to pay for I'll beat you to death. You're worse than an animal. Old Lady Tang rushed over and slapped Tang Wujin without saying a word. She was about the same height as Tang Wujin, and there was no height difference when slapping him. After more than a dozen slaps, Tang Wujin's face was swollen. She covered her face tightly and stared at Old Lady Tang angrily, as if she was staring at an enemy. When Su Jinfeng saw her eyes, her back felt colder than ice. How could her eldest daughter become like this? She was very obedient and well-behaved when she was young. She must have been possessed by an evil spirit. You still dare to stare at me? I raised you, but you turned out to be an ungrateful person. Old Mrs. Tang also felt disappointed. She asked herself if she had done anything wrong to her eldest granddaughter. Although she was not as good to Nian Nian, she had never stopped feeding her, and she also provided for her education. It was just that her eldest granddaughter was too stupid. She always failed in exams, so she stopped providing for her until she graduated from junior high school. She was not forced to earn much from work, and the housework was shared by the 3 granddaughters. All the girls in the village lived like this, but the eldest granddaughter always said that she was partial and had to compare with Nian Nian. Nian Nian was paid for by her parents, and that money was enough for her to eat and drink well for decades. In addition to the 1,000 yuan and 500 kilograms of food coupons given to his family, the young master and young lady of the Tang family also gave 2,000 yuan for Nian Yadu's living expenses. The old man said that the 3,000 yuan was all for Nian Yadu's living expenses, and their family could not embezzle this money. Nian Yadu has grown up to this age, and only half of the 3,000 yuan has been used. The rest is enough for the girl to eat and drink for many years. Their Tang family only helped to support Nian Yadu and did not spend a penny of their own money. Instead, they survived with this money. Tang Wujin, this idiot, refused to listen to reason and insisted on competing with Nian Yadu. He was so stupid that he had no self-awareness at all. Old Mrs. Tang was too lazy to look at this ungrateful person anymore. She glared at him with disgust and shouted at Su Jinfeng, "Take the things and leave. Just pretend you never gave birth to this ungrateful person." "No, the things are mine. You hurt Guoqing so badly. Those are my apology to Guoqing." Tang Wujin, who had been silent all this time, suddenly screamed sharply. Guoqing was so thin that the wind cut him down, and his complexion was very bad. When she saw Guoqing last night, she felt so distressed that she couldn't breathe. She wanted to use these meat and eggs to replenish Guoqing's body, and she must not take them back. Compensate your mother. Did I give you face? You stupid thing, you stole things from home and you are right? Old Mrs. Tang's anger rushed up again, punching and kicking Tang Wujin. Tang Wujin, who couldn't bear the pain, waved his fist to resist. A thin white hand blocked it. It was Tang Niannian. "How dare you beat my mother? For that he Guoqing, you disrespected your grandparents, parents, and sister and stole the food and meat from home to feed the. When you took those things, did you ever think about what your family would eat? Has your conscience been eaten by a dog?" Tang Niannian questioned word by word. Tang Wujin has always been a heartless and ungrateful person. Her affection was only for He Guoqing. The Tang family did not collapse overnight, but one after another tragically died, but Tang Wujin has always watched coldly and never offered a hand to help. Even when Mrs. Tang and Tang Manjin and his wife died, she did not come, let alone visit their graves. This woman's heart is black, and she has no conscience and humanity at all. Tang Niannian pushed Tang Wujin lightly, and Tang Wujin took several steps back. He was unable to retract his strength and sat on the muddy ground.
Why do you hit me?
Tang Niannian, you wild. Tang Wujin got up neatly, rushed over angrily to beat people, and even shouted out Tang Niannian's life experience. Grandma and Grandma forbade the family to talk about Tang Niannian's background. Everyone in Tang village thought that Tang Niannian was a member of the Tang family. Today, she was going to expose the background of this.
Why?
Because Niannian is my granddaughter, and I agreed to her beating you. I'll beat you to death, you ungrateful. Old Mrs. Tang was quick-witted and rushed forward, slapping Tang Wujin in the face and interrupting him. If you dare to gossip about her outside and make up bad things about Niannian, don't blame me for being rude. Old Mrs. Tang looked gloomy and terrifying and warned the idiot in a low voice. The old lady turned back and glared at Su Jinfeng fiercely. If it weren't for this idiot's carelessness, how could the life story of Nian be revealed? Tang Wujin's stupidity must have been inherited from her stupid mother. Tang Wujin trembled with fear. She had lived under the tyranny of the old lady since she was a child, and she lowered her head timidly. Su Jinfeng lowered her head guiltily, and she was also very regretful. In the past, she only complained a few words in front of her eldest daughter, but accidentally let it slip. The eldest daughter knew Niannian's background and said that she gave it to Lu Jin, but her parents-in-law suppressed it. She was even more resentful of her eldest daughter. She had a good life, but she had to go against the family. This idiot would regret it in the future. Old Mrs. Tang looked at her eldest granddaughter deeply and gritted her teeth and said, "You take care of yourself. You will live your good life in the future and have nothing to do with the Tang family. I will definitely live better than all of you." Tang Wujin raised his head with full confidence. Guoqing is educated and a Beijinger. She will definitely go back to Beijing with Guoqing in the future. In the future, she will be a city dweller who eats commercial grain, and the Tang family will always be mudlegs. She will also live better than Tang Niannian. Even if Tang Niannian has a job at the Red Star factory, what can it do? Can it compare with the units in Beijing? Guoqing said that his family would arrange a job for her, and it would be a formal job. Tang Wujin believed it without a doubt and became more devoted to He Guoqing. "I hope you can do what you said." Old Mrs. Tang sneered and mocked. She didn't have to wait until later. She could see the future of this idiot now. People like He Guoqing have no conscience at all. Now he just uses the idiot to work so that he can have a good face and say a few sweet words to coax this idiot into being infatuated and willing to work like a cow and a horse. In the future, This little glasses will definitely not remember this idiot when he returns to the city. Tang Wujin snorted coldly and raised his head higher. She will definitely live better than everyone in the Tang family. Let's go. Old Mrs. Tang turned around and left. She was not a person who dragged her feet. Since her eldest granddaughter was determined to sever ties with the family, she would help this idiot.
Mom.
Su Jinfeng pleaded with her eyes. She had not given up on her eldest daughter and wanted to save her. If you don't leave, stay. Old Mrs. Tang's eyes were fierce, and her face was terribly gloomy. Su Jinfeng shuddered, looked at Tang Wujin, tears streaming down her face, and was dragged away by Tang Manjin. Tang Manjin has always listened to his parents. He has been obedient since he was a child. When his father died, he told him to listen to his mother and Nyen Yatu. He still remembers it. When the quarrel started, the other workers surrounded him. They were so crowded that they couldn't get through. Everyone looked at Tang Wujin with contempt. For a white face with questionable character, she broke up with her family. This woman must have a problem with her brain. She will regret it in the future. But no one persuaded Tang Wujin. The people on the farm were busy with their own affairs. They lived one day at a time. People's hearts were getting colder and colder. Sympathy was the most luxurious thing on the farm. Old Lady Tang rushed directly to the accommodation area of the farm. She had to take back the meat and food. It was called an accommodation area, but it was actually a few rows of wooden bungalows. It was very simple. There was a stove at the door. Old Lady Tang asked about He Guiqing's residence and strode over. The door was locked. The old lady kicked it over, and the door fell down. He Guiqing, who was lying on the bed and dreaming, was so scared that he almost fell off the bed. In the morning, he ate 3 boiled eggs, a bowl of steamed bacon, and 3 bowls of white rice. He had never eaten so much before. After eating and drinking, He Guiqing was more pleasing to Tang Wujin. He said a lot of sweet words to coax Tang Wujin to go to the construction site to work, while he rested at home. In addition, Tang Wujin ate sweet potato porridge with pickles in the morning and didn't even eat an egg. He said that he would save it for him. He Guiqing was very satisfied. Now he didn't want anything else. He just wanted to get out of the farm safely and wait until he returned to the city. Tang Wujin volunteered to help him with the work, and of course, he couldn't refuse. After all, rural women are born to work. They work for the brigade and for him, and they are all contributions to the country. He Guiqing didn't feel guilty at all. Everything was voluntary by Tang Wujin. He voluntarily came to the door, voluntarily worked for him, and voluntarily ate porridge and pickles. He didn't say anything. He Guiqing was almost exhausted these days. He had never suffered such hardship since he was born. He didn't have enough to eat and had to do hard work every day. His shoulders were worn out, and he was so hungry that he couldn't walk. Today, he finally got a rest. As soon as He Guiqing lay on the bed, he had a beautiful dream. In the dream, he returned to the capital, went to work in a state-owned factory, and married Lu Jinglan. They loved each other, had a successful career, and had a son and a daughter. They lived a happy life that everyone envied. However, before the dream was over, he was awakened by a loud noise. He Guiqing didn't see clearly that there was someone standing at the door and opened his mouth to curse. A kick came over and broke his jaw. Tang Nyenyen kicked quickly, fiercely and accurately, so that the wouldn't scream annoyingly. Old Lady Tang glanced at her granddaughter with praise, then walked forward and punched and kicked He Guiqing, venting her anger. Then came Su Jinfeng and her husband, who beat He Guiqing even harder, leaving him with a swollen nose and face, several of his teeth falling out, and he collapsed on the ground, breathing heavily. Don't beat him to death. Get the things. Old Lady Tang stopped her, as it was not worth getting involved in a lawsuit for the sake of the little glasses. The pig's leg was hung on the beam of the house, and at least a pound of meat was cut off, which was like cutting into Old Lady Tang's heart and liver, and it hurt her to death. The old lady gnashed her teeth and kicked He Guiqing, and then went to check the eggs. 1, 2, 3. 52. You ate 3 of my eggs. Why don't you go to see the king of? The old lady was stabbed in the chest again, and kicked Higuaching 3 more times. After checking the rice jar, the old lady couldn't breathe and kicked Higuaching countless times. You are a pig? You eat 5 or 6 kilograms of rice in one meal. Why don't you just die after eating it? Old Mrs. Tang was heartbroken. She had at least 20 kilograms of rice in her rice jar, but now there were only 15 or 16 kilograms. The little boy with glasses had eaten 5 or 6 kilograms of rice in one morning. Even a pig could not eat as much as he did.
I didn't eat.
I didn't eat. Higuaching wanted to defend himself, but his big teeth had fallen out, so his words were not clear. Moreover, old Mrs. Tang did not listen to his defense at all and beat him up. Higuaching wanted to stand up and stop old Mrs. Tang from pouring out all the rice in the rice jar. He had 7 or 8 kilograms of rice in his rice jar. Last night, Tang Wujin brought less than 10 kilograms of rice. These rice belonged to him.
My rice.
Higuaching shouted weakly. His rice was taken away by the robber woman. What would he eat this month? What else do you have besides shamelessness? After old Mrs. Tang poured out the rice, she heard Higuaching's voice and couldn't hold back her anger. She kicked him several times before she calmed down. Higuaching fainted completely. Old Mrs. Tang was startled and hurriedly checked under his nose. He was still breathing, so she was relieved.
Bah!
Old Mrs. Tang spat fiercely. They had a long life and would definitely not die. The family carried their things and left, not caring about Higuaching's life or death. Su Jinfeng was crying all the way. Old Mrs. Tang was furious and scolded. I can't bear to see you go back to the farm now and suffer with that ungrateful person. We, the Tang family, will never keep you. Cry, cry, cry. Cry for her mother's funeral. She cried so hard that her good life was ruined. Su Jinfeng's tears stopped abruptly, and there were still a few on her face, which was a bit funny. She didn't want to go to the farm to suffer. The family had meat every day, and Yen Yadu had a salary of 98 yuan. She was not a fool. She had to live a hard life instead of a good life. Old Mrs. Tang glared with disdain and strode ahead. She had important things to do. After walking 7 or 8 miles, they arrived at a fork in the road. One way led back to Tang village, one way led to the commune, and one way led to the county town. Let's go to the commune. Old Mrs. Tang walked towards the road to the commune. Mom, what are we going to the commune for? Su Jinfeng's heart skipped a beat, and she felt something was not good. Let the commune issue a document to sever the relationship, and that ungrateful person will have nothing to do with the Tang family from now on. Old Mrs. Tang's expression was ruthless. She was the one who had to do the evil, and she must not let this ungrateful person harm the Tang family. Mom, please give Wu Jin another chance. I'll go and persuade her now, and she'll come back. Su Jinfeng was so scared that her face turned pale. She hugged the old lady's arm and begged bitterly. A woman's greatest support is her natal family. Although the eldest daughter did something wrong, she was not guilty of this. If the relationship was severed, who would support the eldest daughter if she was bullied in the future? Mom, we can't sever the relationship. Wu Jin will be bullied to death. Su Jinfeng cried, and Tang Manjin's face was not looking good either. Old Mrs. Tang pushed her away in disgust and cursed. She is so capable that she even dares to steal things from home. Who dares to bully her? If you can't bear to leave, go and accompany Tang Wujin. I won't stop you. Su Jinfeng just cried and didn't dare to speak. Think about Ling Qing. In addition to Tang Wujin, you still have Lu Jin and Yu Jin and Yan Girl.
There are so many people in our Tang family.
We can't be harmed by this ungrateful wolf. If you can't figure it out, go back to your Su family now. Old Mrs. Tang's tone was very firm. Before the old man died, he told her that people with unclear minds must not be kept in the family. Once they made a big mistake of principle, there was no room for negotiation, and they must be driven out of the house. There are 2 principled issues mentioned by the old man. One is to be a traitor. The other is to have an affair. Tang Wujin, this ungrateful wolf, has an affair, so he can't stay. Su Jinfeng was so scared that she shook her head repeatedly. not daring to plead for her eldest daughter anymore. She had only 3 daughters, and although her in-laws didn't say anything, she felt insecure. In the Tang family, she never spoke loudly, and her parents always reminded her to be self-aware, work hard, and avoid conflict with her mother-in-law. Oldest son, do you have any objections? Old Lady Tang coldly looked at her eldest son. If he was also confused, she would split the family when she got home. Mom, I'll do as you say. Tang Monjin's voice was bitter. Although he felt pain, he had no objections. He knew he wasn't smart and didn't have much knowledge, so he followed his parents' arrangements. Old Lady Tang was very satisfied. Don't blame me for being ruthless. This ungrateful wolf is heartless and foolish. If today he can steal food from the family for a little benefit, he will do even worse things in the future. We must act first to avoid trouble. I heard from other educated youth that He Guoqing often makes rebellious remarks, and the other educated youth don't dare to associate with him, Tang Niannian added. This was not a lie. He Guoqing was very unhappy with the situation and often complained. Fortunately, the people at the educated youth station were righteous and didn't report him. Otherwise, he would have been in trouble long ago. Everyone's expressions changed. Old Lady Tang didn't dare to delay any longer and dragged the team leader to the commune to cut ties as soon as possible. Su Jinfeng was anxious and angry. That scoundrel He Guoqing would eventually face consequences. Her eldest daughter following him was like jumping into a fire pit. But she didn't say anything more. After all, she still had Lu Jin and Jiu Jin and her husband. She couldn't let her eldest daughter's foolishness drag the whole family down. Old Lady Tang took the household registration book with her, fully prepared to cut ties. When they arrived at the commune, the old lady presented the household registration book and stated her reasons for severing ties. Our Tang family has always been poor farmers. My husband fought against the Japanese and still has bullets from that time in his body. Before he died, he valued family honor the most. Now that we have such a shameless granddaughter, I must act quickly to prevent her from dragging down the Tang family. The commune officials had heard of Tang Qingshan's reputation. This old man was famous for being a hero against the Japanese, and it was surprising that such a hero had a granddaughter with no sense of shame. Truly, a dragon gives birth to 9 sons, each different. The commune officials didn't make it difficult. They quickly wrote the severance document and had Tang Manjin and his wife sign it. Tang Wujin's household registration was also removed from the Tang family. From then on, Tang Wujin had no connection to the Tang family. With the severance document in hand, Old Lady Tang felt relieved. From now on, even if Tang Wujin caused a huge mess, it wouldn't affect the Tang family. On the way home, everyone was silent, and the atmosphere was heavy. Tang Niannian didn't want to talk. Her legs felt like they were breaking. She had never walked such a long distance, over 40 miles round trip. Oh my! If she had known, she would have ridden a bike. When they reached the village entrance, the team leader finally spoke, comforting her. Children are a burden. Wujin will understand in the future. No need for her to understand. Once we sever ties, she is no longer a Tang. Her life and death have nothing to do with us. Old Lady Tang snorted coldly and warned Su Jinfeng with a glare. Su Jinfeng shivered and lowered her head, feeling very upset. Third daughter, you worked hard today. We'll go to work in the afternoon. Old Lady Tang perked up. Although they had wasted the whole morning, they had brought back the things, and they couldn't delay the afternoon work. What's there to delay? We're family, no need for formalities. The team leader walked briskly. He was the nephew of the second uncle, and now that Niannian was so successful and filial, he generously gave her a huge pig leg. His father praised her for being so dutiful. He appreciated it and would definitely pay attention to Niannian's matters in the future. Tang Wujin's situation didn't create much of a stir in the village. Although there were some rumors, people only dared to speak privately. The Tang family was now the most prominent in the village, and villagers hoped to benefit from their connection, even if it meant just getting temporary work in the city instead of farming. Moreover, the villagers thought Tang Wujin was foolish. What was so good about a pretty boy like He Guoqing? She was opposing her family for him, and now she had severed ties. She would regret it later. Time passed quickly, and soon it was late March when Chi Guohua's family finally returned. Chi Guohua came back leaning on a cane and wearing glasses. He had become a cripple, and his eyesight was poor. Without glasses, he was nearly blind. He was once full of promise, but now he was useless. It was all because of that vile Tang Niannian. Chi Guohua increasingly suspected that the snake was released by Tang Niannian. That day, only he and Tang Niannian were on the mountain. Snakes in March never attack humans unless someone deliberately releases them. Tang Niannian hated him deeply, had a motive, and had the opportunity. Plus, she had been running around the mountain since childhood, so catching a snake would be easy for her. It was definitely that vile girl who harmed him, and he wanted her to pay with her blood. Guohua is back. How's your leg? Why are you wearing glasses? Chi Guohua, supported by Yang Hongling, limped into the village entrance. Chi's father and mother followed behind, looking disheveled and lifeless. They had spent all the borrowed money, and when their son called the army, they were told he could only be discharged, leaving them with nothing and deep in debt. It was no surprise they were unhappy. Fortunately, the army said they would send someone to investigate in Tang village. If it was confirmed that Tang Niannian maliciously released the snake to bite him, she would face a military trial. This made the Chi family feel a bit better. The army also said that if Tang Niannian was found guilty, she would have to compensate Chi Guohua for his losses. They planned to demand a lot of money to make the Tang family work for them. Villagers gathered around warmly, asking how they were doing. Some noticed something was off. Chi Guohua was wearing glasses and using a cane. How could he return to the army like this? What happened to Guohua?